Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto Prince of Uzumaki Clan Council bashing. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Jinsokuichi and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Prologue. He stood over Naruto, looking down at his fallen friend and rival. The fight between them was long and tireless, but Naruto had proven his point as the forehead protector on Sasuke's head was scratched. He felt something that told him that he shouldn't kill his best friend, his only friend. Whether for his own sake, as he didn't want to be like his brother, or the fact that if he did he would truly be alone in this world, even he didn't know. The skies cried for him, disguising his own tears. Sasuke's head tilted as he allowed the scratched forehead protector fall to the ground next to Naruto. He turned and staggered away to meet with the one who would give him power. Don't worry, Dobe, I won't let him take my body. Just don't die. And with those parting thoughts he was gone. The rain came down effortlessly. The river below him that had been nothing but a stream before ate away at the plateau where his body lay until it gave, collapsing him into the flowing water below. The river was no deeper than 6 feet and was relatively calm, but what does all that mean when you are unconscious? Kakashi's arrival. He looked around for any sign of his two pupils, only to see nothing but sheer destruction and a lone forehead protector with a scratch across the Konoha symbol that lay precariously on the edge of a cliff. He picked up the forehead protector, scanning the area with his Sharingan eye. He could only guess the worst. No sign of the brooding Uchiha. No sign of the orange jumpsuit wearing blonde ninja, the latter aching his heart more. I am sorry, Sensei. I have failed your only legacy left in this world. I am sorry, Naruto. I have failed to make you into the ninja you have always wanted to be, Kakashi said to himself, thinking that if not one but both of his pupils may be dead, I was too late and too naive to see what was right in front of my face. Kakashi, now infuriated with himself, clenched the lone forehead protector, and with skill and speed that could only be attained by a jounin, he leapt off of the cliff and onto the large body of water, running to report to the Hokage. Konoha would never be the same. Born second into a family of ninjas, a young girl with brown, shoulder-length hair and brown eyes now finds herself alone in this world, seeking temporary shelter in a cave overlooking a stream, her heart burning with vengeance, and a longing to find the one or ones responsible for her loneliness. Flashback. She was young at the time, younger than she was now, about 7 years old when she came home after playing in a nearby field. There was always something about berries, butterflies and flowers that made her forget the time. When she came home that day, what she expected was a scolding from her mother, but instead she was greeted by the bodies of her small family, laid out haphazardly all over the floor, fresh blood pooling under lifeless forms of her parents and 2 older brothers. This is the kind of reality a ninja must live with and learn to accept. But to a child of 7 years old who was not even old enough to join the academy, this was not her reality as yet. Kira-chan, she heard the wheezy words of her father. She immediately dashed to his side, half frightened and half relieved that he was still alive. I'm sorry that you have to see your family like this. Don't speak, Daddy, save your strength. I'll go to town and get help. Just wait and don't bother, little dove, her father croaked out, coughing up blood. You can still make it, Ocho-san. Just hold on, she cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. Be quiet now, my dove, he said in a calm voice, as he raised a tired arm to wipe the tear from his daughter's face. It is not safe here anymore, especially for people like us. Go to your mother and I's room and look under the mat. He desperately tried to continue talking despite the increasing difficulty of doing so, but he had to do this one last thing. Under the mat you will see a seal carved into the floor. Place your blood unto the seal. What you shall see there is yours, as you are now the last. But father, no buts please, for your family's sake survive. Leave this place, be the happy beautiful woman I had always dreamt you would become and beware of. Just like that he was gone, and despite her father's wishes, so did her joy, for all she knew in this world was her family. She still was too young to understand why she had no other relative, or why they lived so far away from any town. Her young mind could only handle so much at a time. The only thing she thought was that she was alone, and she wanted to know why and who was the cause. Since that day she has tracked her target with a single-minded goal of vengeance. A difficult goal, especially when you don't even know who the enemy is. All she knew was what she had taught herself about intelligence gathering. She would need more to seek her vengeance. But what else could she do? She had no kind of ninja training, but just got by because of her looks and moved around too often to get caught. Her only possession, a large scroll which she is unable to open due to a time seal. Still too young. Flashback end. The rain kept coming with no end in sight. It was not heavy though, just enough to give the quiet stream she was camping next to a bit of life, and that is when she saw it. Something in the water being carried effortlessly by its flow. Sakura, Ino and Hinata were waiting at the gates of Konoha, each hoping beyond hope that everything went alright, especially seeing the kinds of damage their other friends had sustained. Sakura and Ino hoping that Naruto would bring Sasuke back safely, while Hinata, even though she never showed it to him, was more worried about Naruto than anyone else. It was not that she had no faith in his strength, but that is the sort of thing a person who cares for another would do. Words couldn't have expressed the feelings of fear and anxiety they all felt when they saw Kakashi making his way towards the gate alone. Kakashi-sensei, she blurted out with tears in her eyes, where's Sasuke-kun? And where's that idiot Naruto? Ino added in. At the sound of his name, Hinata's heart suddenly dropped. What had happened to him, to the one she looked up to, admired and maybe even loved the most? He made a promise to Sakura to bring him back. I'm gonna kill him if he's making this a game, Ino continued. At Ino's last outburst about Naruto, Kakashi's characteristic stoic face fell for a moment into a look that if someone were looking carefully at him would have seen the shame, guilt, and sadness under his mask and in his one eye. He quickly replaced his expressionless guise and said the one thing he thought best at the moment. I'm sorry, Sakura, but I'll have to talk to you later, but for now I have to talk to Hokage-sama. But before he could use Shunshin, Hinata grabbed him by his vest. Kakashi was shocked. He did not even know she was there. But why was she there? All of her teammates had already been returned to the village, including her cousin. Then it hit him. Please, Kakashi-sensei, she said, in a voice barely over a whisper. Where is Naruto-kun? Kakashi was in trouble now. Even though Hinata never showed it, she was one of the most intelligent and perceptive kunoichi in the village and most of all, adored Naruto more than even Tsunade and Irika, so there was no way he could get out of this. If not for her timidity and lack of self-esteem, she would be a force to be reckoned with. She was Naruto's complete opposite. HN, snorted Ino with disgust. I'm sure that stupid idiot. Kakashi could barely maintain his surprise. Timid Hinata sent Ino sprawling to the floor with a chakra-less palm strike to the solar plexus. You little bit, Ino said as she got up to return the favor to Hinata. However, Kakashi intervened before anything more happened. Enough! He shouted, this is not the time for this kind of behavior. I'm especially disappointed in you, Hinata. I don't care, this was a different Hinata. I just want to know what happened to Naruto-kun. She didn't even stutter once, she just had this look of sadness and regret on her face. Regret that she would never be able to tell him how she really felt about him, or to know if he felt the same, if just a little. Kakashi breathed an exasperated sigh for what he was about to say to her, what he was about to say to all three of them. I arrived too late to stop Sasuke and Naruto, and when Pakin and I finally arrived, all that was left were signs of a terrible fight and this. He pulled out a forehead protector with a gouge across the leaf symbol and no sign of either Sasuke or Naruto. Kakashi pocketed the forehead protector and quickly and poofed away before they asked any more questions. So Sasuke kills Naruto and obliterates his body, then leaves, Ino surmised. Typical of that idiot, he makes Sasuke-kun leave then gets himself killed by him. And no, Hinata said, with a small smile at the corner of her lips and eyes downcast, and Naruto-kun is indeed dead. He wouldn't die so as soon. Meanwhile, Sakura, who was quiet throughout the entire ordeal, was still trying to fight back tears that were clearly defeating her. Couldn't understand how Hinata could say that after what Kakashi-sensei just said, especially knowing how she felt about Naruto. How can she be so calm? I know she is in love with the idiot, but Naruto fought against Sasuke-kun and no doubt lost, so how can she be so confident? Hinata, Sakura squeezed out, with tears still in her eyes, how can you be so certain? He fought against Sasuke, and shouldn't you be more concerned with getting Sasuke-kun back? And Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun are friends. If they fought like what Kakashi-sensei said, then he quite see clearly betrayed us. She paused to collect herself, then said, and Naruto-kun survived his childhood. With that she left the two confused girls and walked over to the gate to wait on Naruto. Tsunade was not just angry, she was angry at everyone, angry at Sasuke for leaving, angry at Orochimaru for attacking, and angry at Shizen for bringing more paperwork, and most of all, angry at Kakashi's lateness after she sent him to retrieve Naruto and Sasuke. So it was no surprise that Kakashi's news was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. Tsunade was no longer angry, more of a blind rage and anguish. If not for Jiraiya, who was sitting on the couch in the Hokage's office, Konoha would be mourning the loss of the copy named Kakashi. She was inconsolable, and they all knew why. The curse had claimed its last victim. It had been a week since Naruto's supposed death, and nothing much had changed, except for the few parties that had broken out. Tsunade had finally calmed down to listen to Kakashi's entire report, and dispatched several teams of ANBU to recover his body, but unbeknownst to her, the teams never really looked for him, for they too were happy with the demon child's death, so their reports were always a failure. The council had even refused to allow his memory to be honored, something about good riddance to bad demons. The council had even gone as far as to rebuke the Sandame's law pertaining to Naruto and his status as a Jinchuriki. Many people did not take it too well, especially some of the people he called friend. Two people approached the gates of Konoha. One, a girl of 15 years with waist-length white hair done in a single braid and a large scroll on her back below a backpack. She wore a red yukata and high-heeled sandals, kind of like Sakura and Tsunade's. The other, a blonde-haired boy with too many bandages on him to make out any identifying marks and dressed in a navy blue yukata and blue sandals. As they got closer to the gates, one of the guards stopped them to inquire their reason for coming to Konoha. What is your purpose here at Konoha? The guard inquired. What, you don't recognize me? Naruto pouted. I've been gone a week and already they've forgotten me. Naruto-kun, I think it's because you're wearing way too much bandages to be recognized by anyone, Akira stated. Oh yeah, Naruto grinned sheepishly, scratching the back of his head. And Naruto? That really you? We were all told you were dead. Hokage-sama will be so relieved, the guard said with a look as if he had won the lottery. She has been sending out ANBU squads all week in search of you. Dead? Tsunade Bachan thought I was dead? Naruto screamed out in his usual ultra-loud voice. At this, Akira was wondering how she managed to get herself mixed up with this loud mouth. Standing in the shade away from the booth, a young girl with midnight blue hair and pale lavender eyes stared on with mixed emotions. She waited by the gate for an entire week with nothing to hold on to but her faith in Naruto, that he would come back alive and safe. Many times her friends had tried to persuade her that it was a waste of time to be doing what she is doing. It had gotten worse when the news of Naruto's tenant was made public, but still she waited, from dawn to dusk, in rain or shine, and finally he was here. And Naruto-kun, I knew you wouldn't die before you achieved your dream, she thought with bubbling admiration and joy at the fact of her crush returning alive. But who is that girl? She's pretty, is she with Naruto-kun? He called her Akira-chan. I'm too late. If only I wasn't so shy. Hinata was mortified, yet at the same time relieved that he was okay. Hey Kotetsu-sensei, did something good happen when I was gone? What is everybody celebrating? Naruto asked the guard, now recovered from his previous shock. Naruto had asked the one question Kotetsu had hoped he wouldn't, but he was not about to be the one to answer him. No time to be wondering about that. Right now you need to get to Hokage-sama's office as quickly as possible. A quick change of topic. But unfortunately Akira is not as much of an idiot as Naruto is. You don't seem to want to answer that question, Akira pointed out, staring straight into Kotetsu's eyes as if she was looking straight through him. So can you please inform us as to what they are celebrating? It was more of a demand than a question. Kotetsu was trapped as he was under the inquisitive eyes of this white-haired 15 years old, but also those of a confused Naruto. Well, you see, visitors. That was a close one. Who knows what would happen if he learns of what the festival was all about? A man in his late 30s staggered towards the group of three, obviously drunk from celebrating. You guys chose the best time to visit. We're celebrating the— No, you fool, he's— But before Kotetsu could stop him, the drunken fool had said it all, what the council had done, and how the entire village was celebrating his supposed death. Or rather, the death of the Kyuubi. It didn't matter, they saw Naruto and the beast as the same, at least, those without any kind of perception. There was no violent outburst, no swearing, not even any visible sign of rage. All there was sadness. I'm a real idiot. All this time I thought they had accepted me. At least I still have my friends. I wonder what Akira-chan thinks. Akira-chan, sorry you had to find out like that. Do you still want to be friends? I would understand if you don't want to. You idiot, Akira smiled, saying, that man is a fool. He can't see that you are the jailer and not the prisoner. I've known you for only a week and even I can tell the difference. Thanks Akira-chan, you're like the big sister I never had. He flashed her one of those fox grins and she blushed at this. Wait till you meet my other friends, Iruka-sensei and Kakashi-sensei. They soon left the guard booth and strolled along the streets of Konoha towards the Hokage Tower. They heard all the things the villagers had thought about him, and since he was covered in bandages no one recognized him, and obviously not even his teammate and the person he had a crush on for as long as he could remember. Sakura and Ino were walking along the road talking about all sorts of things, mainly about a certain Jinsokuichi, when an oddly familiar boy with blonde hair and covered in bandages accompanied by a strikingly beautiful girl with snow-white waist-length hair suddenly waved to them. As usual, Ino was the first to introduce herself to the visitors. Hi, I'm Yamanaka Ino and this here is Harino Sakura. Ino warmly introduced herself. I've never seen you guys around here before. Did you come for the festival? No, we're just travelers and happen to be traveling through. What is this festival all about? I heard that it's in honor of a fallen comrade? She just couldn't help it. Naruto had told her all about his friends, his team and the girl he had a crush on for the longest while, and here she is looking sad. But for what? He had also told her about Sasuke's defection and Sakura's feelings towards him despite it all. Akira had to know if these people were really the same friends that Naruto had talked about. Honor, comrade? Sakura asked, no longer able to contain her emotions. Those are two words I will never use to describe that dope. The word no longer felt like a barb between friends but like the Chidori that Sasuke had stabbed him with. All his efforts were for naught. Not even Ino looked to have disagreed with everything Sakura had said. It's his entire fault, Sakura wailed out, now completely in anguish. If that demon didn't exist, Sasuke-kun wouldn't have left me and the village. Demon? What demon? Akira asked, with false confusion. Naruto. He is the demon. At this she giggled. I guess I should say was. He won't be hurting anyone anymore. This was the last straw and he couldn't take it anymore, but as soon as he was about to strip the bandages from his face and reveal his identity, a small voice came to his rescue. Someone he had not seen since the morning of the Chunin exam's final. Someone who he had once sworn to avenge. Ayano, I am very surprised that you Sakura-san, he was your teammate and Sasuke betrayed us on his own. And Naruto-kun risked his life to try and bring him back. Sakura lost it. She hit the shy heiress with a blow so hard it would have put her out for a month. That is, if Naruto had not jumped in the way and took the punch instead. Also due to his close proximity to her, Hinata promptly fainted in his arms. Damn, why does she keep doing that? Naruto thought, looking puzzled. You've got to forgive Hinata, she'll think of anything to defend that dope. She loved him, you know, and he was so stupid that he was the only person who didn't notice. Ino finally piped up while restraining Sakura, who was in the midst of a screaming match with the unconscious girl, which she so happened to be losing. Nevertheless, Naruto was shocked to hear this. How could Hinata like him? No, it's our fault. We shouldn't be dragging up this kind of painful stuff. Anyway, we've got to go, we'll take her home. Bye. Before Aino could ask their names or give them directions to Hinata's house, they were gone. That damn Hinata, how could she say such things about Sasuke-kun? Sakura pouted. Sakura, we may have a problem, Ino said in a thinking stance. What are you talking about? I'm not sure about the girl, but the guy is definitely a ninja. Are you serious? I didn't see any forehead protector. How can you be certain? It's the way he moved, too fast for an average person. We've got to report this to Hokage-sama. But why does he look so familiar? Ino wondered. Naruto and Akira had made it back to Naruto's apartment with Hinata being carried by Naruto bridal style and found it to be in shambles. People had broken in and destroyed and defaced everything, from the cup ramen to the sofa. Akira felt her heart break. This was the peaceful and loving people he had spoken about, and had pledged to give his life to protect, and they still treat him like a demon, an animal you just wished to get rid of. She couldn't stand it any longer, and was determined to get him away from this place. But she wouldn't even have to try too hard if what Naruto said was any indication. My dream was to be respected and acknowledged by everyone in the village and to be Hokage, no, to be the greatest Hokage, so that I could protect those precious to me, but that group has dwindled so much. Think about it, if Sakura could say that about me, then what about the others? Well, you still have her, at least Naruto-kun, she said with a playful grin on her face as she pointed to the sleeping form of Hinata. So what do you plan on doing now, Naruto-kun? You obviously can't stay here anymore, and neither can she, judging by how that bitch Sakura was to her. Akira spat out her name as if it left a bad taste in her mouth. I know, I've got a plan to fix this entire problem and everything will be back to normal. As soon as Hinata wakes up, we're leaving for the Sound Village. Had he lost his marbles? In the meanwhile, Sakura and Ino were explaining their encounter to the Hokage with the mysterious ninja. He doesn't seem to be above Gen in rank, but he could have been hiding his strength, Ino explained. Ino made sure to edit what Sakura had said about Naruto and about Hinata as to not endanger themselves, seeing as how close the Hokage was to Naruto. This is serious. Get me Kakashi, you're dismissed, Tsunade ordered. Within moments Kakashi was standing in front of Tsunade's desk, more stoic than usual. Kakashi was quite different since that day a week ago. He had not even picked up his favorite book. They no longer interest me anymore, he would say, but anyone with the least bit of sense knew the real reason, and that Kakashi was torn up inside. After all, he just lost the last descendant of his dead best friend, and the only son of his dead sensei. Tsunade was not doing so well herself, but she was the Godame Hokage and she had responsibilities to attend to. If she had her way, she would send everyone who celebrated Naruto's death straight to Ibiki or deal with them herself. You summoned me, Godame-sama? Yes, we seem to have some intruders in our village. This may give you a chance to get your mind of your troubles and vent some frustration, Tsunade said, as if she knew exactly how he felt, and indeed she did. Your mission is to track down these infiltrators and capture them alive if possible. Their description is one male with blonde hair covered in bandages about 13 years old, and a female about 15 with waist-length white hair done in a single braid. Dismissed. Hi, Hokage-sama. Kakashi then disappeared in a puff of smoke to find his targets. Alright Hinata, you sure you want to come with us? You'll be leaving your family as well. After this there is no turning back. It's okay, and Naruto-kun, I don't think I would be much missed at home, she said, the last part in a far softer voice which Naruto heard nonetheless. Hinata had awoken a short while later and Naruto had explained his plan to her, or at least the short of it, and invited her to come along. The truth of it was that Hinata would have left with him even if he didn't ask. She just couldn't lose him again. They were now outside the gates of Konoha, having already put some distance between them, ready to embark on their journey when Akira suddenly stopped. Having slipped by the guards, Hinata was understandably a little uneasy as she had walked out of Konoha in the middle of a large group of people using them to mask her presence. Not to mention when it is discovered that she had left the village, hunter Neens would be sent after her since Naruto is supposed to be dead, and there is no records of Akira. What the matter, Akira-chan? Naruto asked, seeing the worry on Hinata's face. Oh, nothing, I think I want to make over right about now, she replied. No, I don't think this is the right time to be doing that, Hinata said, a little confused and lightly relieved to the awkwardness of the timing. It's alright Hinata-chan, you've got to see this, it's really cool, Naruto assured her with a bit of excitement in his voice. Hinata stared with bated breath as Akira closed her eyes and clasped her hands in a hand seal to concentrate her chakra. Within moments her hair, which was previously lily white, was now a vibrant orange-red, and her eyes had changed to a brilliant green. To say that Hinata was shocked would be an understatement, and for the first time her loss for speech had nothing to do with her shyness or being in the presence of Naruto. Hinata was abruptly brought out of her daze when she heard Akira ask her something. Hinata-chan, can I ask you a favor? Akira asked while rummaging about her bag for something. Why yes, what is it? Hinata silently replied, though still a bit shocked. Can you cut my hair for me? Akira asked in a girly manner that made Hinata's sweat drop due to her difference in behavior from earlier, as she held out a pair of scissors. What? Hinata asked, feeling a little pressured from all the attention. Well, you're the only girl around here, and any friend of Naruto is a friend of mine, especially when they're as cute as me, she said, and then leaning in closer so that only Hinata could hear, besides I don't think that Naruto-kun would know what to do with scissors. I heard that, Naruto yelled, now frustrated and losing his patience with the two females of his groups who now decided to play dress up in the middle of the road. Good thing no one was around. It is true, Naruto knew nothing of girls, not even if one liked him to the point of fainting around him. Hinata giggled, then took the pair of scissors from Akira. How would you like it cut, Akira-chan? Just below the shoulder blades in a straight. But before she could finish her description, she was interrupted by something that sounded like birds chirping wildly. Chidori. It was all they heard before a masked, silver-haired man flew at them with one hand ablaze in electricity. Naruto managed to jump out the way in time, rolling to his side, the ground exploding where he once was. Tell me your name and purpose for infiltrating Konoha and kidnapping the Hyuga heiress. The next time I won't miss. The tone of his voice was cold. His eyes narrowed at the blonde bandaged boy. And no, Kakashi-sensei, you don't understand. That's Hinata was cut off when Kakashi turned at her. This is no time to be sympathizing with the enemy, Kakashi said while still staring at the blonde-haired boy. Naruto looked down, all sorts of emotions bubbling under the surface. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said in a low voice, first Sakura-chan and now you, why don't you recognize me? How dare you use the death of my student as means to your goal? Kakashi was now livid. I'll kill you for this insult. Kakashi flipped through the few seals required for his trademark jutsu. But before he had a chance to impale the boy, Hinata stood in front of Naruto ready to receive the Chidori in his stead. Sorry Naruto-kun, guess I'll never get the chance to tell you, I love you. If not for Kakashi's quick reflexes, Hinata would have been dead. Hinata-chan, Naruto choked out, you would do this for me? The only person who had ever put their life on the line for him was none other than Sasuke, and even though they wouldn't admit it in normal situations, they had become good friends. Now here Naruto was, being protected by the last person he'd expect. Anything for you Naruto-kun, she said with the sweetest smile Naruto had seen directed at him. Just then, Naruto became angry and slightly ashamed that he almost lost one of the last precious persons he had. Thank you Hinata-chan? He said to her with a broad grin that caused her to faint. At the sight of this, Kakashi almost had a heart attack hearing his name. Hinata is a shy girl, but there's only one reason that she would do such actions, Naruto. Take of those bandages, Kakashi said in his usual stoic relaxed voice. They cover your distinguishing features. Bandages, distinguishing features? He said, confused by the masked Jounin's remarks as he raised a hand to his face. What are you talking about, Kakashi-sensei? There is only one person I know that is that dense, but I still have to confirm it. Hee, I completely forgot that those were there. He scratched the back of his head while removing the bandages from his face. Kakashi was dumbstruck, but then again this was Konoha's #1 most surprising ninja. Kakashi quickly hid his surprise under his stoic visage and smiled under his mask, making his one visible eye turn up to show that he was smiling. It is you Naruto, why are you leaving and who is this girl behind me trying to look scary? Naruto was glad to see his sensei act his usual self, a sure sign that he recognized him and did not hate him like a certain pink-haired Kunoichi. But Akira was anything but happy, especially when she was made out by Kakashi like that. Akira's bluff was caught. She simply huffed at him and took Hinata from the blonde's hands and rested her against the tree. So are you going to tell me? Because I need to know what happened, and maybe you can come back. Kakashi never got to finish what he was saying as Naruto cut him off, anger and sadness evident in his voice. This is Akira and thank you for acknowledging me and my dream, but you know what is going on back in Konoha and the reason why. Naruto then looked up, the pain written in his cerulean eyes, a slight crack in the mask. Besides, they think I'm dead, and if I prove them wrong then the council might try to make me disappear, and I've already seen what some of my friends think of me. For the second time that day Naruto had surprised his Jounin sensei. Since when did he become so insightful? But he still had to try to get him back. He failed with Sasuke. Maybe Naruto would listen to him. That may be true Naruto, but you have the Godame on your side as well as me and Irika, even Jiraiya-sama. So what do you say Naruto? Let's go home. I'm already dead Kakashi-sensei, and Konoha is no longer home to me anymore. The people who didn't see me as a demon and protect me, he said, and his eyes glanced over to Hinata's sleeping form now waking up, are being treated like scum because of me. I won't let my friends suffer because of me. Think about Hinata, Naruto. Kakashi was desperate now. They'll send hunter Nins after her. I'll protect her with my life, for that is my nindo. Kakashi should have expected this. I saw how Sakura treated her when she defended me from her, and if Sakura would do that, then I don't want to know what other would do to her. Kakashi knew he couldn't convince the stubborn blonde when his mind was made up, so he did the best thing he could have done. He let them go. What Naruto said was true. He was already labeled as dead, and with his death being celebrated, bringing him back now would be a very bad idea. The fact that Hinata would be safer with him than within the confines of the village was true, seeing as how everyone knew her true feelings for the blonde idiot. Well, I guess I have no choice then. Be safe Naruto, and take care of Hinata. If you need anything just ask, he said with a wink in his eye, then looking at Akira said, and make sure to keep him out of trouble. Well, there are a couple of things. What is it Naruto? Kakashi wondered. Naruto dipped his hand in his pocket and pulled out his hitai-ite and handed it to Kakashi. Give that to Irika-sensei, tell him I will make him proud. I'm not dead and not to tell anyone. He stopped to pause for breath. Don't tell anyone that I'm still alive except Tsunade-bachan, she'll know what to do. You're going to try and rescue Sasuke by going to Orochimaru's village, aren't you? It was more of a statement than a question. Then he looked up and then smiled. Yeah, it's the only way to show them I'm not a monster. He said in a lower tone, but immediately donned his mask of joy and continued, besides, I made a promise and I guess this is it. The next time we meet I'm going to kick your ass and get the bell. I suppose you do, but before you go there is something I should tell you that you deserve to know. I hope it makes up for my neglect. What is it, Kakashi-sensei? It's the true identity of your father. If Naruto's eyes wasn't attached to his head it would have rolled out. You knew who my parents were this whole time and you didn't tell me? Yes, but I had no choice. The Sandaime-sama's law was in effect. Sorry, Naruto. Just tell me. Your mother's name was Uzumaki Kushina of the former Whirlpool country. And my father? The suspense was heavy. So heavy that even Akira forgot why she was previously angry, and Hinata started biting her fingernails. Your father was Namikaze Minato-sama, but you all, as he now addressed the curious onlookers, and Hinata and Akira know him as Yondaime Hokage. Enter Master Kyoshi. It had been a month since Kakashi's confrontation with a certain blonde ninja. Who would have thought that Naruto would have reacted like that? Flashback / And my father? The suspense was heavy. So heavy that even Akira forgot why she was previously angry, and Hinata started biting her fingernails. Your father was Namikaze Minato-sama, but you all, as he now addressed the curious onlookers, and Hinata and Akira know him as Yondaime Hokage. Nani? And my father was the fourth? This was a day that neither of the four would forget, because as soon as Naruto heard of his parentage he passed out in a fashion not unlike Hinata. Kakashi's one visible eye curved upwards as he turned and said, He does that better than even you, getting a deep blush from Hinata for his words. Flashback / Kakashi had given the Hitai to Irika as Naruto had asked and given him the message. He had never once seen such pride and joy in Irika's eyes toward anyone. He had also told Tsunade of his encounter with Naruto and his group, and was pleasantly surprised when Tsunade decided to keep it as an S-class secret not to be repeated to anyone else. She even made Kotetsu swear an oath of silence on the topic. The only problem was what to do about Hinata's father. He had pressured her to send out hunter neens after his daughter after she had not come home in 3 days, and no one had seen her, unfortunately. Doing so would reveal the new S-rank secret. Naruto and his group now find themselves in the middle of nowhere, hopping from tree to tree, hoping to keep a lot of distance between them and the hunter neens of Konoha. He looked like the very description of frustration. Why, you may ask? The plan that Naruto had hatched was a plan to rescue Sasuke from Orochimaru by infiltrating the Sound Village itself and bringing him back. It was a good plan except for a few loose ends, such as, he didn't know where exactly Otogekyo was. The only person with an idea was Akira, who only knew that it was in Rice Field Country, but which part, even she didn't know. It just so happened, Jiraiya was on a mission that crossed paths with Naruto's plans. He was gathering intel on the hidden Sound Village and its activities. Unfortunately, Naruto's plan was a failure, leaving Hinata and Akira thinking themselves as failures even though Sasuke and Orochimaru was not there to begin with. The only positive outcome was that they had created an ally in the former glorious Fuma clan of Rice Field Country by freeing them from Orochimaru's treacherous grasp, but, sadly, at the cost of 3 of their strongest members of the Fuma clan, one of which, the elder brother of their new friend Fuma Sasami. So they now find themselves several miles from Rice Field Country, fleeing from the hunter neens of Konoha. It was not that they were all being hunted. How could they? Akira had no business with the Leaf Village and Naruto is officially dead. So why would the hunter neens be after them? The truth of the matter was that they were not. They were after Hinata. The kidnapping attempt by Kumo and her behavior after Naruto's supposed death lead a lot of people to one of 2 decisions of what could have happened to her once it was discovered that she was missing for several days. And Naruto-kun, what do you think would happen to us if the hunter neens catch up to us? Huh, what do you mean? When news of your death came, almost and no one was remorseful, only a few of the Aruki 9 and the Jounin sensei. If the hunter neens discover you still alive, they might try to kill you for Ariel. Just the thought of such a fate dropped her in a depressed state. Akira, who was at their sides, was in a puzzle. She had no idea what was so special about these hunter neens. Sorry about butting in, but what's so special about these hunter neens? Aren't they just ninja? Oh, that's right, you were never part of a hidden village, Naruto realized before he explained. They're ninja trained to hunt down and either kill and dispose or return missing neens to their village, or something like that. Kakashi-sensei explained it better. So why are they after us? We're not missing. Just then she caught a glance of Hinata, barely able to hold back her tears. Oh, Hinata, I didn't mean anything. Sorry Akira-san, Naruto-kun, if it weren't for Emmy you wouldn't be in such a situation. She was no longer able to control her emotions, and maybe I should give myself up, maybe they would. But before she could get a chance, Naruto stopped the entire group in the clearing they were currently in, and stared at her in her pale lavender eyes with an expression that was not rage, but one that was filled with determination. He had seen how they had treated her because of him, how her life because of him looked so much like his younger life. Naruto would not allow this, especially with the knowledge of how she feels about him. Hinata, he said in a low tone, I have seen how they treated you because of me, and I have lost a lot of precious people, but I now know the ones who are truly precious to me, who truly matters. You are one of those precious few, and by my Nindo I will get stronger and protect you and those precious to me with my life. Naruto-kun says I'm truly precious to him. Thank you Naruto-kun. A meek smile played itself across Hinata's delicate face. Yeah, Naruto-kun, you're great. Akira was a hopeless romantic, with a handkerchief in her hand sniffling and wiping ravines of tears from her eyes. Over the past week she had come to understand how much Hinata really thought of Naruto, not to mention she more or less interrogated her when they were alone on Hinata's true purpose for coming with them. Akira had come to think of Naruto as a little brother, and the citizens of Konohagakure were not on her most trusted list. How foolish, noble, but foolish. An old man, who looked to be in his mid-80s, dressed in a dull gray cloak, telltale signs of mesh peeking out from underneath the sleeves and wrist guards similar to those of the toad Sannin Jiraiya. From under the long sleeve of his robes where he clutched onto a staff that looked old and polished from use and stood on a pair of wooden getas. His bald head shone in the light, and his foot-long beard was tied neatly with a string at the end, and his long whiskers swayed gently in the breeze. In his eyes burned a power that none of the three children had ever seen before, a power not only gained by years of honing one's skill but by experience. They were looking into the eyes of a true shinobi, and his lips separated to give them a toothy grin. Hinata was the first to gauge a glimpse of how strong this man in front of them was. He's definitely old, but he walks far too easy for his apparent age, and we didn't even sense him until he talked, were Hinata's thoughts. What the hell do you know, old man? Naruto was never one for respect, tact or manners, especially for someone that pried in his business. And where the hell did you come out from? That was some of the dumbest shit I've heard, and you call yourselves ninja? Hee. The old man belted out a high-pitched laugh as he walked towards the trio with an unnatural grace and swiftness. What kind of idiot protects his loved ones with his life? You stupid old fart, how dare you! If you weren't so old I'd rip you apart, but as a shinobi it wouldn't be fair. No, Naruto-kun, I don't think you should be insulting this guy like that. Akira reasoned, in a whisper, keeping an eye on their uninvited guests. There's something about him that makes me uneasy. I agree, and Naruto-kun, Hinata said, just as silent. Byakugan now activated. He is a ninja and his coils are experienced. I've never seen anything like it, they're huge. It's okay you guys, look how old he is, he's ancient, and one punch and I could kill him. Not that he was arrogant, he just couldn't see how such a relic could be a threat, ninja or not. That's some of the funniest words I've ever heard in decades. You three can't possibly be ninjas. What do you mean, old man? Naruto was almost ready to lose it. Well, you're too loud, you have no discipline, you are not even aware of your surroundings, and you depend too much on the beast within you. The Hyuga there can be summed up in one word, pathetic. Hinata's head was immediately cast down. Here was a man who they had only known for 5 minutes, and seen her for what she was. Or was she misunderstanding? Father was right, I am weak, I'm only keeping Naruto-kun back. But before she could continue with herself berating, the old man continued, and the rather bright one there, raising a shaggy gray eyebrow at Akira, has no skill whatsoever. Honestly, I'm surprised you're not dead yet. With that beacon of a jumpsuit and her hair, you rival even the sun. Naruto couldn't take it anymore. His eyes that were once blue now blood red, with slits as pupils like a savage animal. I'm only going to give you one chance to apologize. Make me? Came the rather childish rebuttal from the ancient man standing there, as if he wasn't even concerned with or fazed by the killing intent pouring of the loud ninja. You can insult me all you want, but don't you dare hurt her. Naruto took out 4 kunai and hurled it in the direction of the smiling old man, and charged at him full pelt in the wake of the flying weapons. The old man's smile didn't wane. He simply caught the kunais out of the air with inhuman swiftness, and returned them to the blonde ninja, catching his clothing at the shoulders and leg of his trousers with such force that his entire direction was reversed, pinning him against the trunk of the tree on the other side of the clearing, and so secure that he couldn't move. Amazing. Both Akira and Hinata gasped in unison, not trusting their eyes at the unbelievable feat they had just witnessed. The old man, still in his original position, had just neutralized Naruto with nothing more than a simple movement of the arm, or at least that was the assumption, because they never actually saw him catch the kunais and throw them. Alright, I see you are serious, so now I'm going to give you a chance. The old man, now staring at the immobile form of Naruto, perched the staff precariously on a rock with a bell on either ends. If you can touch this staff once in the next 10 minutes, I will wholeheartedly apologize for my words. You two can help him if you want. What if we can't do it? Akira asked. He. I kill the stupid blonde loudmouth and then I'll apologize. What do you say, Blondie, you accept? And no, Naruto-kun, it's not worth it. Hinata was breaking under the pressure of this man as she shouted at the top of her lungs, D, don't worry about me. I don't want you T to get hurt, B, because of my W weakness. Oh, did I mention that if he backs down now? With sweat pouring off Akira's brow and fear implanted in her and Hinata's heart as he shifted his attention to the 2 prone girls. I shall kill them both and make you watch, since you were too weak to protect them. His face was placid as he promised death to the genin and one partial civilian. So, what do you say? He suddenly disappeared from the middle of the clearing to reappear next to Naruto, still struggling to free himself from the embedded kunais in the tree. Oh, mighty protector? No longer was the sound of his voice one of cheerfulness, warmth, and joy, but of cold hard ice. I will protect those precious to me with my life, and I made a promise to Hinata. Naruto's voice roared as the Kyuubi's chakra engulfed his form, sprouting a tail made of red chakra, giving him the strength to pull his pinned limbs of the tree and turning to stare into the dark brown eyes of a warrior that had seen many bloody battles and countless fears of the old man. And I never go against my word, for that is my nindo. About 5 minutes away, a team of 4 men in A and B gear and masks were hot on the trail of the missing Hyuga heiress. They stopped along the path they were currently traveling to inspect the trail they were currently following. Taicho, one of the men, spoke calmly to his superior. Their trail is very fresh here and getting warmer. Good, the captain replied in an anxious and somewhat relieved tone. How long till we catch up to her? The captain had a good reason to get the girl back home as soon as possible, because he didn't know if even the Hokage could save him from Hayashi's wrath if this mission was failed. The strange thing what troubled the captain was his vague parameters. All he said was to bring her back alive. Somehow he pitied the girl. 5 minutes, Taicho, he said, touching the ground, but this is strange. What's strange? The captain queried. He didn't need any complications. There seems to be 2 other persons with her, he stated, inspecting the footprints and broken twigs, 1 male and 1 female, roughly about her size and stature. Okay. They're just kids, he said, feeling his mission will be without delays or complications, and with an authoritative command he continued, move out, let's wrap this one up. But a feeling in his stomach kept telling him that this mission was about to get a lot more complicated than he had bargained for. The old man stood there staring Naruto into his animal eyes, his back towards the balancing staff and temporarily paralyzed girls, and as Naruto was about to charge he raised his palm, halting the furious blonde. Let's make this a little interesting, shall we? He said, as he reached into his cloak and removed a piece of cloth which he tied around his eyes. Now you may begin. You'll be apologizing a lot sooner than you think, old man, Naruto said in a far too loud voice. You're underestimating me. For insignificant little whelps such as you all, he paused for effect, turning his head in the direct where he believed Hinata and Akira still were. I don't need to make assumptions. He formed the all too familiar seals and shouted out his technique. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Impressive, he obviously knows how to perform the jutsu well, the all-man thought to himself. But I wonder if he could pull that much off with his own chakra and not the beast's. Guess I'll find out later. In the once sparse field, nearly 200 of Naruto's clones erupted from the smoke. They dashed at the staff perched on the rod, covering the distance in the blink of an eye, but to their surprise the blindfolded old man appeared in front of them, and mowing down the clones like Chuji at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Front kick, reverse punch, knife hand chop, roundhouse kick, spinning roundhouse kick, backhand slap, and all manner of taijutsu strikes rained upon the QB-empowered boy's clones for almost 5 minutes straight. Right after he dealt a rising knee to a clone, dispelling it, he drove a palm strike into Naruto's gut so hard that it sent him flying towards the 2 girls. Hinata was still too shocked at the old man's display of power, as he single-handedly destroyed nearly 100 of Naruto's clones, and sent him flying with a simple palm strike. So she barely had time to move out of the way of Naruto's path if it wasn't for Akira pushing her out of the way. In his rage he didn't see the girls as he flew past them and landed roughly on the ground, and coming to a stop a couple seconds later, he stood up from the trench he had created, staring heatedly at the still blindfolded old man, standing as if he was on a Sunday stroll. It angered him, but more importantly, he was becoming fearful, not of the aging man's strength, but because he was running out of time and the threat of losing the one person who loved him for so long even when he was lonely, and the person he thought of as a big sister was becoming more and more imminent as the seconds ticked away. Little did he know, the QB was feeding off of these emotions to further loosen the seal and slowly corrupt his mind. They had traveled for the past 5 minutes in pursuit of the Hyuga heiress and her accomplices, but what they found had them all wondering of their sanity. Do you see it? The dog-masked man said. Because I think I am seeing things, Captain. As much as it upsets me to say it, the captain replied. You're not. Apparently the demon brat wasn't killed at the valley. What I want to know is, who is that other girl and the old geezer, said a woman wearing a bird mask. I don't care who the hell he is, spat the monkey mask-wearing Hunter Neen, but I want revenge on that demon for what he did to my brother. As he drew his weapon and charged at the unsuspecting boy, he felt a firm hand grab onto his shoulder. It was his captain. Hold on there for a minute, spoke the captain in an odd cheery tone. The old man seems to be handling the brat with more than enough ease. So what? Barked Monkey Mask. In that state it is highly unlikely we could do him much harm, so if we let the old man deal with him we can just take him out when he's tired. Take the brat's head, bring back the Hyuga, and we'll be heroes without even breaking a sweat. All due respect, Taicho, Monkey Mask said, what makes you so sure of your plan? The geezer looks pretty tough, he's even wearing a blindfold. We've got the element of surprise. Fine, huffed Monkey Mask, just as long as I get to cut off his head. What of the other female, Taicho? The female, Hunter Neen asked. We bring her back to the village for questioning, responded the captain. Now get ready. It looks like it's coming to a close. His 3 subordinates immediately released a hushed chorus of hi as they took up strategic positions around the clearing. Naruto had formulated a plan with the 2 girls. He would distract the old man while they sneak around and grab the staff, with Hinata backing up Akira in case the old man figured out the ploy. Unfortunately the old man saw through their plan, and with a few swift movements that strangely resembled Juken, Hinata, who still had her Byakugan activated, couldn't help but gasp as she saw the man who was obviously not a Hyuga do something similar to her family's patented style of fighting. Only his way was more flowing and fluid, like a dance, beautiful and deadly at the same time, truly a gentle fist. She was so shocked that she was brought to reality when a resounding slap rung through the air. The aged man, after paralyzing Naruto with his Juken imitation, suddenly appeared in front of Akira as she was just in reach of the precariously perched staff and backhanded her and sent her sprawling. Unfortunately for her, she had no ninja training whatsoever, so with that blow, it was pretty much the end of her, as she was welcomed into unbiased unconsciousness. What did you do to Naruto-kun? Hinata stuttered as the man slowly turned around to face her direction. The old man laughed, further unnerving the shy Hyuga girl. He failed, so now it's up to you. There are still about 45 seconds remaining. You can still save your friends if you aren't weak, or do you want to watch her die? He pointed to an unconscious Akira. Or maybe you want him to live the rest of his life with the loss of his last loved ones, a fate worse than death. He was taunting her. But he wasn't taunting her into giving up, but to get her to fight with all of her heart. That was exactly what he got. Hinata got into a juken stance and stared squarely at the old man. She wasn't about to let her new friend die nor let the one she loved a life of heartache and sorrow because she was too weak to take a stand. This is the day that shy meek Hyuga Hinata changed as all her fears, worries and doubts were cast aside. The day she found her strength. Thank you Naruto-kun for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself, so today I shall be the one saving you. You will not hurt my friends, for I will stop you with everything I have. She said in such a tone that even Hayashi would have flinched. Then come, little girl, show me what you have. With that, Hinata burst forward with as much speed as she could have mustered, readying the most powerful juken strike she had ever performed. As she reared her hand back to deliver the killing blow to the heart of her opponent, she smiled as she was getting ever closer and closer to the man as he hadn't moved. The old man, instead of moving, he simply grabbed the wrist and with a swift movement tossed her in the same direction in which she was headed. Naruto, still trying to get free of his binding, heard every last one of the old man's taunt to the Hyuga heiress. Coupled with the fact that he was already enraged due to the old man's initial taunt, and the fact that he might lose his friends. What the old man said to Hinata was like adding fuel to the fire, literally, because behind him another tail of chakra began its growth, and upon becoming full, Naruto gained the power he needed to break free of whatever had his muscles locked, and made a mad charge at the staff which was behind the old man. Since he was in a direct line with the old man and the staff on the rock, Naruto was not able to avoid the collision course he was on with Hinata, partly due to his breakneck speed and partly due to his blind rage. She crashed directly into him with the sound of flesh and bone colliding into flesh and bone. Hinata was immediately knocked unconscious with severe burns about her body where she had made contact with Naruto's body in the collision. Naruto could only stare as he got up and looked at her unmoving form. What happened? Naruto spoke. What have you done to her? When Hinata had collided with Naruto, the juken strike which she had prepared for the old man slammed into Naruto, bringing him back from his near psychotic rage. Look closely, the old man said as he turned around, pulling of the blindfold off his eyes. Those burns look like they were caused by an evil chakra. The chakra which you were using. His world was shattered. He wanted to protect her, and in the end he had hurt her more than their enemy ever did, but he was soon brought from his self-berating by a chuckle. What's so funny, old man? Naruto snapped in his direction, glaring daggers at him, while he held Hinata in his arms. Oh, nothing, it's just that your time is up. Fear was written on Naruto's face. Was he going to lose her now? No, he would fight to protect them, but without the Kyuubi, it did more harm than good. He would fight to the last breath, but as he lay Hinata gently on the ground and he pulled out a kunai out of his pouch, the old man started smiling again. What's so funny now? Naruto screamed, desperately trying not to lose his temper. Even if I die here, you will not harm either of my friends. Let's say you do die protecting them from me, the old man said with a level stare. Who is going to protect them from the 4 waste-of-time ninjas taking up positions around this clearing for the last 5 minutes? This caught Naruto completely by surprise. He's right, what should I do? I'm not strong enough to handle all this by myself. I might just have to. He was snapped out of his thought when he felt a hand grasp his shoulder. When he looked, he saw that the old man was smiling, not like his previous maniacal smiles, but one that said, I'm proud of you. Looks like you figured it out. Naruto only nodded. You pass. Naruto was paralyzed. He had fought for the life of his 2 most precious people and it had not been enough. Then to hear he had passed, not to mention the revelation of the hunter neens lurking in the tree line. This was too much. Why? He asked, feeling as helpless as a newborn deer. Why would you? But before he could finish, the sound of feet running through grass brought him back to full alertness as he prepared to face of the new threat. However, before he could do anything, the old man stopped him. Let me handle this, he said as he stepped forward, grabbing his staff from the rock, allowing the bell to drop to the ground. The old man stood in front of Naruto and his group as the 4 Konoha hunter neens stopped. I see that you knew we were there this whole time, Monkey Mask snarled. It's no matter. Out of the way, old ma, before I kill you along with that demon brat. How far has the ninja fallen? The old man said in a sage-like tone with pity. Unfortunately, I have taken an interest in these 3, so you would just have to fail your mission. That is quite unfortunate, the captain said, drawing a sword from his back. Kill him and the demon and take the girl for questioning. The 4 of them lunged at him. Naruto just stood there in shock as this ancient-looking man single-handedly killed the 4 hunter neens in just a few moments with nothing more than his bare hands and a few shuriken. When the last hunter neen hit the floor, the old man turned to look at Naruto. Before, you said you want to get stronger so you can protect her, is that right? The old man asked. Yes, more now than ever. And me too, a very shook-up Hinata said with as much surety as she had ever done. Please train us so we can become stronger. I would like to get strong as well, Akira, who had woken up in time to see and hear enough to figure out the old man is not an enemy. I do not want to be a burden, and I don't need being protected. To say that she was embarrassed with her one-hit wonder performance would be an understatement. The old man smiled his toothy smile as he watched the determination in their eyes. These children now knew what it was they had to do to truly protect their loved ones. Very well, he said, his smile slowly growing into something sinister. But before I take any of you as my students, there is one thing you must know and understand. What is that, sensei? Akira asked. You may quit at any time you like, he stated, getting questioning looks from the three youngsters. But if you do, you may never return and your training will never be complete. Understood? He was answered with a chorus of "Hi" from all three children. Good, any questions, because from now on you will be punished for any foolish questions. That last statement had them all wondering what they had got themselves into. Then in a surprisingly polite manner Naruto asked the question that has been gnawing on their minds from the beginning. Who are you? He got into stance with his body at attention, the staff held behind his back in his left hand and his right fist in front of his lips with the index and middle finger pointing upwards. I am Nin Master Jinsokuichi, last master and keeper of the ancient shinobi way. You, from now on, may refer to me as either Sensei or Master Kyoshi. Merciless Training, Part 1. Naruto, his companions and their new sensei have been running for 3 days, stopping only eat and get a short rest. On the third day they came upon what looked to be a small cabin. It looked quite simple and modest from what they could see from the outside. Wait here, the old man said, as he walked into the house. A few moments later he emerged from the house with a very crammed backpack with pots and other necessary kitchenware dangling at its side, and in his hands 3 layers of what looked like neatly folded pieces of cloth, but as he came closer it turned out to be 3 suits of clothing and 3 pairs of ninja tabis. As he came closer to the group of ninja trainees he took of the backpack and handed it to Naruto. The suits of clothing to Hinata and the staff to Akira. He made it look so easy, but the backpack and clothing were a lot heavier than they first perceived, to the point that Naruto fell to his knees under the immense weight, and Hinata's knees began to buckle under her load. After watching them with what could be described as either pity or disgust, the old man proceeded to flip through a list of hand seals, and as he completed them, holding at the last seal, he looked at his new students in the eye, serious as ever. This is when your training officially begins, Ninpo, Kajisochi no Jutsu. As he said it they began to slowly sink into the ground. If Hinata wasn't so loaded down she would have latched onto his arms. Hokage-sama Tsunade looked up from her desk where she had been reluctantly doing her paperwork to regard the ANBU kneeling before her. I have urgent news. What is it? The ANBU team that was sent after Hyuga Hinata had been killed. What? Tsunade shocked at the possibility. Any evidence as to who did it and how? Where were they found? Evidence shows that all 4 ANBU members seem to have been killed where they stood by a single assailant. How were they killed? There was no damage to the skin, bones, or muscle tissue, only the organs were damaged. At that last bit of description Tsunade sighed. Only Juken could kill an enemy like that. She was still astonished that the shy, quiet Hyuga heiress could do such a thing, but the events before her disappearance quickly destroyed that feeling. But no matter the cause, Tsunade had a duty to do, and it would break the hearts of all those who know her. Have the bingo books updated listing Hyuga Hinata as an A-class missing Nin to be captured on sight. Hi, Hokage-sama. Is there anything else? Yes, she said, imagining the headache she would receive sooner or later, informed Hyuga Hayashi. With that the ANBU agent disappeared from the office, leaving Tsunade with her thoughts. Take good care of her and yourself, Naruto, because from now on both your lives and your other friends' lives have become so much harder, she thought, a little sad as memories of her little brother passed through her mind, while she fingered the pendant around her neck. Now what did Shizen do with my sake? Master Kyoshi and his new students emerged out of the ground in front of a large house built in a traditional Japanese style. They entered into the structure, leaving their footwear at the door, and entered into a huge meeting area as the master began to give them a brief tour of the area. There was a kitchen, eating area, a large bedroom which Master Kyoshi pointed out as his room. There were rooms which looked to be for formal occasions, but the most startling thing was that there were no modern conveniences of any sort, not even beds. At the back of the house were the training areas, a large courtyard and a very large dojo with weapons of every kind imaginable from swords to ninja wire. He pointed to a door on the other side of the dojo. You will change in there. He handed them each a suit of clothes each that seemed to weigh a ton. From now till I deem you a worthy ninjas, this is your new home. You will eat, sleep and train together. Hinata blushed furiously at the thought of sleeping with Naruto. Naruto was not so clueless as his usual self. After all, he did learn that Hinata loved him. But Master Akira never got to finish as Kyoshi cut her off. Is there a problem? Like hell there is, Naruto interjected. There are girls here and you expect us to change in the same room? Master Kyoshi just started him and chuckled. You seem to be lacking greatly in discipline, so that is the first thing you shall learn. With that he disappeared from view and grabbed Naruto from the back, pinning him to the ground in such a way that it felt as if his shoulder would be ripped out of its socket. Watch the way you speak to others, it may just be the end of you. The words came out of his mouth with frost as Naruto felt the sharp edge of a kunai pressed against his throat. So what do you have to say for yourself? Sorry, Naruto stuttered. Sorry, master. Good, now get up and go change. All of you, he barked, you have chosen the path of the ninja, therefore you must grow up. He was greeted with a chorus of "Hi Master" from his 3 charges, but before they disappeared into the room he gave them a piece of advice. Remember, as ninja you cannot be distracted by the form of the opposite sex, as alluring as it may be. The last part much quieter, and you must be familiar with your companions in as much way as possible. There is nothing to be ashamed of, well, as long as you don't become obsessed. This seemed to have a comforting effect on the three, especially Hinata. Oh, and one more thing, he smiled a little as Akira, who was in the lead, stopped to listen. When you manage to get those suits on, meet me in the meeting room. You have half an hour, there I shall explain your tour to, training. Good luck. With that he took off, not before placing the staff on a very ornate weapon rack and closing the sliding door of the dojo close. Inside the changing room was bare with the exception of a few candle holders. There was an adjoining bathroom, but the door was locked. Naruto looked at the other girls and they looked at him, each sporting tomato-like blushes on their cheeks, waiting for who will make the first move for 15 minutes. Akira released an exasperated sigh. Fine, if you two won't, I might as well set an example. She dropped her clothes and proceeded to remove her top and her skirt. She had a lean figure and tan complexion with modest-sized breasts. She wore matching blue underwear. Afterwards she unfolded the suit of clothing and hastily pulled it on, noting the difficulty in which it took to move after it was on. See, that wasn't so bad, now it's your turn, she said, but frowned when she saw neither Hinata nor Naruto moved an inch. Okay, how about you just turn your backs, that way you would have some sort of privacy. Besides, Master told us to meet him in 30 minutes, and that was 15 minutes ago. Suddenly being half-dressed in front of Hinata, and seeing her half-dressed was not that much of a big deal anymore. The same could be said for Hinata. They both quickly turned their backs on each other, and pulled of their clothing as quickly as possible. When they were both in nothing in but their underwear, Hinata, for a reason that she couldn't explain, turned slightly to see Naruto in nothing but boxers. Unfortunately the same thought was on Naruto's mind. What he saw was an angel. She was quite curvy with a superb figure and ample breasts. Her skin was smooth and soft, and it reminded him of moonflowers. All this attention had her blushing so hard that she would make any tomato green with envy. And Naruto-kun, please, you're staring. Her voice snapped him out of his daydream as he quickly averted his eyes. Sorry, Hinata-chan, I never noticed before, you're so beautiful. She smiled and blushed even harder at this. Naruto-kun just called me Chan and told me I'm beautiful. Naruto dropped his head. You probably think I'm some sort of pervert for looking. And no, I don't mind, besides I look too. What did I just say? She thought as realization dawned on what she said. That's enough, you two love birds. I don't want Master Kyoshi punishing me because we're late. That did the trick, and Naruto and Hinata hurriedly put their clothes on and headed out the door to the meeting room, each stealing glances of one another at times. It had been an entire half an hour later until Naruto and company finally arrived in the meeting room, panting and sweating profusely as they pushed aside the sliding door. The clothing they wore was not only extremely weighted, but it seemed to hinder every movement they made, so just standing and walking a short distance was a task in itself. Akira herself was hardly able to make it, as she needed assistance from both Naruto and Hinata. Master Kyoshi sat on a cushion on the tatame-covered floor behind a low desk, wearing robes that seemed to be made specifically for wearing for non-formal occasions. He sipped from a cup of tea and regarded his three tardy students with absolute sternness as he invited them to be seated on the cushions across from him. It was awkward as the clothing hindered all their movement. You are here so that I may explain the rules of this place. Naruto groaned, which was heard by Master Kyoshi, who launched a saban from out of nowhere at a pressure point on the arm meant to inflict pain. My estimation of your current skill level, and a few guidelines. As he said this he reached over and plucked the saban out of Naruto's arm, easing his brief moment of torment. Discipline may be learnt in one or more ways, it is up to you to choose how you would learn this, he said. Is that understood? Whatever, old man, Naruto mumbled under his breath while pouting and folding his arms. Just give us the stupid rules and start training us. Immediately there was a saban lodged in both arms, causing the blonde Jinsokuichi to grit his teeth in pain. Hinata, who was seated at his side, was about to comfort him when a firm hand coupled with the resistance of the suit stopped her. It was Master Kyoshi shaking his head no to her actions. I think there was something in my ear. What was that? He said, feigning ignorance. Yes, sensei. That's what I thought, he said as he reached over to pull out the pair of saban. Now, as I was saying, the rules are simple and straightforward and are as follows. Never be late. Proper respect must be shown to me at all times and to your companions while in formal occasions. No one is allowed to try and persuade another not to leave. Training uniforms must be worn at all times except when bathing and sleeping. No complaints. Expect the unexpected. After your training is complete you may train whoever you deem worthy, but you must take responsibility for that person's action. Finally, you must never reveal the location of this place or the source of your training. 8 rules, none of which was like any they've ever heard, and what is it with the no complaints, and expect the unexpected rule. Burn these 8 rules into your memories and never forget them. Write it down if you must, but so long as you are here you will be governed by these rules. After which, you are free to make your own decisions. Hi sensei, they all answered at once. Good, he said with a smile coming across his lips. Now, the guidelines I am about to give you is for your benefit, and following them will help you greatly in your training, so pay close attention and feel free to ask for clarification on anything when I'm done. They all nodded their head with varying degrees of excitement with the prospects of finally training. Take everything one step at a time, have patience with yourself and rest when you are supposed to rest, and he turned serious again. And most importantly, never let your emotions guide you, Let them strengthen you and motivate you, but a decision made solely on emotions such as hate, anger, jealousy, greed and vengeance is a poor decision, and in the end will only lead to suffering. Naruto suddenly had a feeling of sadness wash over him. The words the old man spoke had a profound effect on him, as he knew from first-hand experience what he was talking about. Now that has been said, remember it and hold fast to it. Are there any questions? This time Hinata was the first to speak up. Why do you keep saying that we can leave whenever we want? It is because he passionate for effect. The strongest ninja is not the one with this. Master Kyash suddenly fell asleep, leaving Hinata, Naruto and Akira amazed at the sight. What just happened? Naruto asked. Is he dead? And no, Naruto-kun. Hinata giggled at him. He fell asleep. Are you kidding me? Akira voiced. How the hell does that happen? It's only 12. It's because he's really old, and Naruto never got to finish that crack as Master Kyash suddenly opened his eyes and continued just where he left off. Most powerful or has the most amount of ninjutsu, strongest taijutsu, fastest speed, most powerful genjutsu or even the strongest muscle, but the one with the strongest of mind, and I'm not talking about being able to think either. He stopped and looked inquisitively at his 3 students who were staring at him with eyes as big as saucers and jaws on the floor. He smirked, feeling rather accomplished by their expressions. If only he knew. Okay, if that is all your questions, let me give you my estimation of your skill level. With that they came back to normal. First up is Akira of the Tsuken clan. She knew what was coming. You have none, but have an advanced bloodline limit. She wasn't upset at this. It was true after all, and she was not one to delude herself. Next is Hinata of the Hyuga clan. She braced herself. Pathetic, not because you lack skill or strength. As a matter of fact, you are stronger than what I would expect, especially your control, but you limit yourself with stupid fear and indecision, and is only truly strong when he is there to witness. That will not do. You must discover your own strength, and use his as a driving force, not as a source of acknowledgement. The words hit her like a truck, but they had its desired effect. He is right. I must find my own strength and become as strong as Naruto-kun. And Naruto, Master Kyash chuckled. I see tremendous potential in each of you, but yours seem to be far greater than any person I have ever known or met, even mine. But you're a hothead who seem to have an issue or two with some of the worst chakra control I've ever seen. I'm still shocked as to how you are able to do that strange technique with the blue ball of chakra. I am, though, impressed with your ability to do Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, but I wonder if you even know the immense possibilities of that technique. And finally, your taijutsu is atrocious. You have no form, and even if you did, none of your punches or kicks would be life-threatening. Naruto, for the first time in his life, was speechless. In but a few sentences the old man had already measured him and found him wanting. Now follow me outside so that we can begin, and do not keep me waiting. 45 minutes later the 3 students were finally outside. It took them 15 minutes just to stand up. Now that you are finally here, start running and don't stop till I tell you to stop, Master Kyash said. I need to see where I need to start with you. They ran all day non-stop until one by one they each began to drop from exhaustion, one by one, until finally Naruto came to a crashing halt after 5 kilometers. They had covered a distance that would be considered reasonable for a genin, with the exception of Akira, who couldn't make past 400 meters. Alright, meditate for 15 minutes, and when you're done I will teach you how to conceal weapons so you don't have to go about with that pouch and holster all the time, he said calmly, and I have already taken the liberty of burning your weapons pouch and holsters. After they meditated he began to demonstrate the art of concealing weapons. Now you try, he said as he made an entire box of saban, 20 kunai, 40 shuriken, a pair of kamas, a pair of sais, a short sword and a fuma shuriken appear from his clothing, and then making it all disappear back into his clothes. He then unfurled a scroll which he pulled out from under his robes and unsealed an arsenal 3 times as much as what he was currently carrying. The funny thing about the weapons was that they were all made of construction paper. These are your new weapons, and until you are able to use them like real weapons you are forbidden to use real ones, he said, noting the faces of his 3 students. Reason being, a ninja must be able to make anything in his hands a deadly weapon, from a stick to a peanut. Now start concealing these weapons. When I return there must be nothing left in your piles and I must not see any unusual bulges. But before he was gone into the house he paused. And don't bend them. When you get the hang of this you may wash up, eat and rest. Your real training begins tomorrow. He began to walk away with one last thing before he disappeared in the doorway. Enjoy this freedom while it lasts, for tomorrow your new life begins and your old life ends. Later that day, Naruto and the girls, after getting the hang of concealing weapons, were treated to a meal of rice, fish, and vegetables. Over dinner, Akira asked Master Kyash where exactly they were. He told them that this was a place where every hour that passed, only half had passed in the outside world. The name of the place was the Mountain of Forgotten Wounds. He named it that, something about time healing all wounds. After dinner they returned to their room where they were to sleep side by side on futons. But not before showering first. Master Kyash locked them all inside the room, saying it was for their own good, and that they needed to become less distracted by the body of the opposite gender, and that Naruto was lucky to be getting such good training and need to grow up and stop acting like a child, and that he would get used to it. They eventually did become accustomed to seeing such sights, but that did not mean Naruto did not stop having feelings for Hinata and vice versa. To him she was like a goddess. After they were settled, Master Kyash came in and made them aware of the 3 charts on the ceiling, one of which was chart of pressure points and their effects, death, paralysis and unconsciousness, and the other a chart of striking point and their effects. Memorize each and every one of these points and their effects, as well as combining consecutive pressure points or striking points. Make them second nature to you. With that he left, leaving 3 very tired students staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow is going to be the beginning of hell. It was 5 o'clock in the morning and our 3 ninjas in training were all snug and warm on their futons dreaming happy dreams until a bucket of ice-cold water was dashed on them, immediately jolting them from their slumber. They're not accustomed to the water on the mountain as yet. You have 20 minutes to get ready and eat breakfast. After that meet me behind the house. With that he disappeared in the shadows of the room. Naruto and the girls complied even though reluctantly as they hastily washed up, put on their training suits and eat breakfast, but they soon felt ill as they saw what Master Kyash had set up for them at the back of the house. The back of the house was like a forest and got darker the further you looked, and there was a lake to the right, but that was not the cause for their sudden illness. The back of the house looked like something out of a war movie except with a lot more traps that actually worked. There was an obstacle course starting with a 12-foot wall and a single ninja wire spanning 50 feet attached to the top of the wall, and a pole of similar height. From that there was more poles scattered haphazardly about in different heights leading to the lake, and from the lake thin slabs of either cardboard or sheeting ply on the surface in an arc leading back to the land where rows of swinging blades awaited them to pass through, then through a jungle of ribbons and soft material, all with a large sheet of foil paper underneath and a second 12-foot wall with a board perched on a stand on the other end. Not to mention everything had bells on them. The scariest thing was that was the things they could see. As they stared wide-eyed at the torture machine, the old man cleared his throat to get their attention. Before you begin, first warm up by stretching, then do 50 push-ups, 75 sit-ups and a 5-kilometer jog. Get going. To some that sounded like exactly what it was, a warm-up, but when you are not accustomed wearing tabbies, wearing a suit that resists every motion you make and adds 50 pounds to your body, this warm-up was more like having a Sunday jog across Canada. 2 hours later they were finished with their warm-up. Naruto didn't know how much more he could go. Hinata didn't know how she made it, and Akira, being the only non-ninja, was in tears as Master Kyash had practically forced them all to finish, and yet she did not give up even though he taunted, ridiculed and belittled them all the way at random intervals. Okay, now for the hard part, he said with a content smile on his face. But before we do, Naruto, impressive stamina, Hinata. You nearly give up a few times before looking at Naruto and changing your mind. Remember, the strength that you want is within you. All you have to do is believe in yourself, know somebody else. Akira, nice determination, especially since you had no prior training. Naruto scratched behind his head. Hinata had a look of determination, feeling more motivated than ever. There was no way she was going to let a non-ninja show her up, friend or otherwise, and Akira smiled widely while blushing from the praise she had received. But that was just a warm-up. All feelings of pride was gone, but the motivation and determination was still there, especially for Hinata. Akira, I can't teach you more than the basics, so for now I want you to practice with weapon throwing over there. Remember, no real weapons. I will be over there in a moment to check your progress and give you pointers. Hi, sensei. With that she dragged off to a white line painted 30 feet away from a human-shaped dummy with red dots painted on the same key points from the charts in their rooms. How the hell am I supposed to throw paper cutouts and toothpicks without it blowing away, or even getting it to stick in the stupid dummy? This is impossible. She ended her mental rant, and resigned herself to her fate. Back with Naruto, Master Kyash was explaining their assignment, or torture, or whatever you want to call it. Firstly, I forbid the use chakra in this exercise. That seemed to take the wind out of Naruto's sail. You must scale the wall. Move across the tight wire while killing or incapacitating the hidden targets. If you don't, they attack back. Hop from pole to pole without falling while dodging the weapons I will be throwing at you. Next, you run across the sheets on the lake and kill or incapacitate the targets in the boat without falling in. Make it through the blades without getting sliced up and through the ribbons and sheet without disturbing it. Go over the second wall and land on the board without breaking it or making a sound. Naruto and Hinata was as pale as ghosts now. Unfortunately, it did not end there. Oh, if hear a bell, the sound of the foil, I see the ribbon or sheets move, or you get hit by a weapon, you start over immediately. And you will do this every day except Sunday, until you can do the entire course in 10 seconds or less. The grin he had on was almost sadistic. Hey, no need to worry, this is only level 1. Oh, by the way, and no bloodline ability. Begin. With that he disappeared, and some distance away Akira was laughing her head off at her companion's misfortune. Little did she know that this same fate awaited her sooner or later. It was now the weekend, and Naruto and Hinata made no progress beyond the tight wire. As a matter of fact, they couldn't even get on it without even making the bell jingle, and this was starting to rub on Naruto's nerves. They woke up Sunday morning expecting a day of non-progress, well, except for Akira. She was actually making some marginal progress in weapons throwing. Naruto groaned as he was rudely awakened by Master Kyash. No need to be that way, he said with a grin on his face. We'll be taking a break today. Naruto immediately brightened up. No training today? I never said that, he answered. Today I would be working on the less physical aspects of your training and giving you a few pointers to complete the obstacle course, so you don't have to wear your training suit, but I expect you to be fully armed and put on these weights. In a few minutes the three got into some clothes that Master Kyash had brought for them. They were a simple pair of black pants and white karate GI jackets tied with a black sash. After breakfast they were all assembled in the dojo as the last master began talking to them about the purpose of the obstacle course, which was speed, stealth, sharpening reflexes and senses or agility, and that a ninja without these skills is not a ninja at all. Then out of nowhere he pulled out a shogi board and asked who knew how to play. Hinata and Akira knew, but unfortunately Naruto didn't. The old man instructed Hinata and Akira to play while he explained the rules to Naruto, but during the discussion a thought occurred to him. Naruto. Yes, sensei. I must ask you a question, Master Kyash stated. Be honest, I won't hold your answer against you. Naruto looked confused but nodded a yes anyway. It's about the beast sealed within you. Naruto suddenly seemed a bit depressed. He still hadn't gotten over what happened to Hinata the last time he used its power. What about it? He asked. Will you use its power? No. His head shot up, his eyes filled with anger at the Kyuubi. I lost control and hurt Hinata-chan. I will never use that damn fox's chakra again. The master chuckled, proud of his student. But as a Jinchuriki you have responsibilities not to ever lose control no matter the situation. What do you mean? When you get angry, it uses your rage as fuel to gain a hold on you. So what can I do? If I ever see that snake bastard again who took Sasuke, I don't know what I might do. As he said this, his eyes started to turn red with slits. Just thinking about that bastard is getting me angry. Calm yourself, Naruto, you are already starting to change. Naruto suddenly snapped out of his rage and his eyes returned to its normal blue. Sorry, don't worry about it. I can teach you to control the beast no matter how much of its chakra you use or how angry you get, but it will take intense training and mental discipline, along with your physical training, he said with a flat stare. The best part of this is that you will be immune to all genjutsu except ones where you are taken into the user's mind. Those you can only defend yourself to a certain extent. Really, when do we start? Naruto was practically bouncing off the walls with excitement. I'm gonna learn genjutsu. Master Kyash sighed. Seems I'll have to teach him to pay attention. Oh well, that's part of what the shogi is for. First, you have to master that obstacle course. Naruto's head dropped. Now come on, we have a game of shogi to play. This will be good for you. It builds patience, which is good for mental discipline. Merciless Training, Part 2. It has been 2 years since Naruto, Hinata and Akira started their training in the way of the ancient shinobi under the, how may I say, eccentric Nin master, Jinsokuichi. He had put them through hell. Every time they came close to making the crazy old man's standards in the obstacle course, he threw something new at them. Like greasing the wire, setting the traps on the targets to launch kunais at them if they miss a critical point that would either render the target dead or immobile, increasing their weights, making them use different weapons, and don't forget, if they set off any traps they would need to start over. Oh, the rope mustn't break either. This may not seem like much, but considering that they now carried enough weights to make even Rock Lee give up. Well, Naruto at least, and yet they had to scale 12-foot walls, move across flimsy-looking tight wire, hop from pole to pole, and at the same time avoid deadly projectiles thrown at them randomly, without making a single noise or ruffle, while still completing the course in less than 10 seconds. Did I mention that Master Kyash now took up a habit of attacking them with deadly precision from time to time to keep them always aware of their surroundings? The Sundays, which was supposed to be their day to rest, was rapidly becoming more and more difficult. It started when Naruto mastered the rules to shogi and was proficient enough at playing. You can master something and still get your ass handed to you. He started them playing shogi without the board, something about improving their concentration. Needless to say, Naruto sucked the most, and his lack of concentration often led to some bickering between he and his adopted sister, Akira, and sometimes even Hinata. Oh, and Hinata is out of her shell talking back to Naruto whenever he did something stupid or inappropriate, but she still loved him, maybe even more. Naruto had also come to see Hinata the way he once thought he saw Sakura. He loved her, and she loved him so much so that they began sleeping wrapped in each other's arms. And it was this love and his new goals that kept his drive, and kept him going like a man possessed. The same could be said about Hinata, who wasn't lagging far behind though, but by far better than Naruto in the more mental aspects. All this, in just 1 year. The second year made the first year look like a picnic. This is where the extra weights actually came in. Master Kyash was becoming a bit sadistic, from his games of dodge and catch to the survival missions. The survival missions were actually training designed to heighten their senses and awareness. How did it work? He teleported them into the dark part of the forest behind the house with blindfold on, and told them that they could not come out until they could hear his attacks. At first it was difficult, very difficult, as the old man moved like a ghost and pounced at them with animal ferocity, and with such precision that made him truly worthy of his title. This took 6 months as he did this exercise separately. After this was done, it was time to sharpen their sight. He simply led them to dark part of the forest, and told them to find a few objects. These objects were by far too small and the surroundings too dark to be seen by just anybody, thus it took them another 3 months. In all this, Hinata was forbidden to use her Byakugan, as Master Kyash told her it would be beneficial to her if she didn't. You would be quite surprised with yourself if you master this. Finally, the game of catch and dodge. It was a simple game. Master Kyash would put one of his students against the wall and throw projectiles at them, starting with rocks to eventually kunai, then aiming towards more and more deadly places. The student could dodge just so long he or she stay within the permitted area. Sadly, that permitted area started to grow smaller and smaller until the person had to catch the projectile before they were impaled through the heart, and by the way, no use of caught weapons to deflect unless you use it to throw at another projectile. All must be caught or dodged. Unfortunately, Master Kyash was not one to just let his students master something at a jounin level. No, he had to strain them to almost the breaking point, and this is why after they could survive this with their eyes open he did it with blindfold on, and after within a circle, with the other 2 students throwing to kill. The rest day was dedicated to meditating under a frigid heavy waterfall. This particular exercise was especially useful as it improved mental discipline and strength, something that Naruto needed seeing as how he was the least talented in genjutsu, which brings us to the 3rd year of this training. The water of the waterfall was cold, very cold, and at some times there was ice in it, and the students would have to stay under this frigid cascade the entire day. This exercise was dangerous because there was the risk of catching pneumonia or freezing to death, but their sensei was with them all the way giving advice and lectures as they meditated until he felt they were at least strong enough to carry on without him. I know this is difficult to take, but when you are able to sit under it without feeling bothered by the water's force or its frosty bite, then will your mind be a fortress, he stated in a sage-like way, and with a strong mind obstacles that stop even the will be overcome. Your strength will be immeasurable, for the mind conquers all. This particular exercise did wonders for Hinata. Though she was not as strong as Naruto, she was a damn good second. When they did not meditate or play no board shogi, they studied physiology, particularly critical and weak points of the body and how best to exploit them. They studied poisons and antidotes, their effects, strengths and limitation, and where to acquire them. They studied pressure points, all their effects and sequences. They studied psychology, how to make an opponent perceive things just by a few gestures and or words to get them to either fall in fear or sadness or to get information. Master Kyash even taught them the art of seduction, how to bend a man, for the girls, to their whim, and how to bend a woman, for Naruto, to his whim just by certain motions, actions, gestures and words. Beats Oryoke no Jutsu any day. They studied seals and their applications, pros and cons and their proper usage. The 3rd year had begun and Master Kyash was proud of his students, particularly Naruto. He had mastered everything he had thrown at him the past 2 years. The meditations, the obstacle course, and whatever the old sadist threw at him, and not only did he survive, he thrived. Hinata was no slouch either. She had turned from a shy, timid girl to a beautiful, confident, and strong young woman who drew strength from herself and her own desires. Akira, though trailing far behind Naruto, and Hinata, was making marked progress. I am proud of the 3 of you, Master Kyash said, with a proud smile on his face. Naruto grinned proudly while Hinata and Akira smiled with just as much pride. But your training is far from complete. There went all the joy. Akira, from today you will be starting the obstacle course. Hi sensei, she answered, excitement and nervousness bubbling under the surface at the same time. She immediately left to start the very exercise that she so heartily laughed at Naruto when he fouled up. Don't worry Akira ne-chan, Naruto called to her. It's only held the first few weeks. Wait to boost my confidence, Naruto-kun. She pouted as Naruto grinned cheekily at her. Alright, now that you've had your fun, Master Kyash intervened. I want you two to warm up and meet me back here. Today we start in the arts of ninjutsu, genjutsu and taijutsu, not necessarily in that order. Naruto was never so happy in his life. He was so happy that he finished his warm-up in record time. The warm-up to most people would be a full-course workout. It consisted of 700 push-ups, 1,000 upside-down sit-ups, 10-mile run, and doing the obstacle course flawlessly, all while wearing that restricting suit and wearing enough weights to make Guy proud or scared. HM, you seem to be quite excited, Naruto-kun. He chuckled lightly while he watched Naruto hop up and down happily while Hinata finished up the obstacle. We will begin as soon as your girlfriend finish. In another time and place Naruto would have blushed madly and Hinata would have fainted, but due to their closeness and frequent exposure to one another it became easy for Naruto to realize and for Hinata to open up to him and tell him how she felt. Anyway, Hinata was finished and Master Kyash began to explain. I will teach you ninjutsu and genjutsu last, as they will be the easiest and require the least amount of practice, he stated in a teacher's tone. But they also require preparation. What do you mean, sensei? Hinata inquired. Thanks to my training you two have already acquired 3 of the 5 requirements necessary to learn them. I will teach you the last, in time. So does that mean you will be teaching us taijutsu now? That is correct, Naruto-kun, he said with a knowing smile. I will be teaching you 2 taijutsu styles, the closed fist and the open palm. Hinata may know the open palm as juken. Hinata gasped. How can he know juken? Hinata asked herself. Do not be misled, Hinata. Juken is a corruption of the open palm. I should know, as it was my elders in this ancient way who trained the first Hyuga ninja. Unfortunately, they corrupted it with false sense of strength, he stated as he saw the growing shocked expression on Hinata's face. Come, I shall demonstrate. They followed him into the dojo where a number of training dummies were set up. The dummies looked like typical straw training dummies, except they were actually blocks of wood carved to take the typical shape of a human, and every part was covered in soft material. The ancient master took the basic juken stance and charged at the dummies, and the way he moved was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was as if he wasn't even touching the floor, it was as if he was gliding over the surface of wet ice on polished skates. He moved with a graceful deadliness, like the child of ballet and kenjutsu. The strikes were all deadly accurate, to the heart, head and other vital organs. The strikes in themselves were different from a typical juken strike. The strikes did not have any bursts of chakra or its associated noise. As a matter of fact, the strikes did nothing more than lightly tap the victim. When he stopped, Naruto wasn't very impressed. Sure, he was awestruck with the speed and grace Master Kyash moved with, but all the dummies didn't have a single damage or chakra burn on them. That wasn't as cool as Jukin. Hinata looked at him as if he didn't know what he was talking about, but the way you moved was amazing. In all fairness, Naruto really didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't fully comprehend what he saw and why it was better. Oh, you don't think so? Nope. Okay, look at this. Naruto looked closely as Master Kyash undid the bindings that held the material to the wooden dummies. What he saw gave him a whole new respect for the style and the master. The areas where Master Kyash had struck the dummies were unharmed on the material, but the wood underneath were not so lucky. It was sawdust. As he removed the material, there was only holes where sawdust poured from onto the polished dojo floor, holes that, had it been a real person, kidneys, liver, heart, brain, lungs, stomach and gut would have all been utterly destroyed, reduced to nothing but pulp. Wow! Was the only word that could escape Naruto's lips as he saw the effects of the seemingly harmless dance. Hinata's mouth gaped. Glad to see your approval. They could only nod. Now I shall demonstrate the closed fist. The closed fist was far less graceful, but it was fluid, and what it lacked in grace it made up for in power, destroying dummies and punching holes through them. Though it was not graceful, it equal to in precision and speed, though power and strength were also a criteria. Unlike fluidity, which we not so much a criteria as it was in the open palm style. Before you begin any of these styles, your chakra control must first be up to my standard. Both Naruto and Hinata knew what was coming when he said my standard. Hold out your hands. He poured into their palms a handful of multicolored sand. They looked a bit dumbfounded. What are we supposed to do with this? Hinata asked, before Naruto got the chance. This is a chakra control exercise I call sand molding. The sand in your hand consists of 5 different colors, and using your chakra you must separate them, and align it to separate fingers. They paled at the thought. This was just not right. Oh, and when you are able to do that under 10 seconds we'll move on to the second stage. Both Naruto and Hinata groaned. Hinata groaned because she wanted to learn the true Jukin. Naruto groaned because he knew how much effort this was going to take and how bad his chakra control was. Alas, they commenced with the task. The exercise took a week to complete, 4 days to get the right amount of chakra and 3 to get it up to speed. It is no surprise that Hinata finished before Naruto and moved on to the second part called powder molding, which is similar to sand molding, just harder because of the size of the sand particles are larger and easier to move. The key was simply to use the right amount of chakra, as too much, and the sand or powder will be blown all over the place, while too little and nothing would move. Completing these 2 exercises would make any person's chakra control perfect, as the margin for error in these exercises were almost zero. Perfection. It took over 2 weeks for them to master this exercise, with Naruto lagging behind, but now his and Hinata's control were perfect. They would not know just how beneficial this was to them, that their level of control was so perfect, until later. Master Kyash, satisfied that their control, begun teaching the 2 forms of taijutsu. He started with showing them the strikes and the movement for the open palm, along with 3 kata, each needing to be followed with nothing less than perfection in speed, grace and execution. After he trained them in the way of the closed fist in a similar manner, after another month of training in the 2 styles, he decided to step things up. Naruto, Hinata, come. They stopped their kata and walked to him. I am quite pleased with your progress, so I shall be increasing your workload. What do you mean, Kyash-sensei? Naruto inquired. Along with learning these 2 styles, you shall also be learning nature manipulation. Naruto was a bit confused. This is the arts of manipulating the elements around you. But I shall not stop at just manipulating elements. You will be able to bend it to your will. Beside, I'm skipping shape manipulation because of my training. You have already mastered it. Huh! Was Naruto's intelligent reply. Make that orb thing of yours, Master Kyash commanded, and don't use a shadow clone. Okay, I'll try. He was a bit unsure of himself, as he had never done it without assistance from his clones. Here goes. Naruto stuck out his hands, and hardly thinking, a blue sphere of destruction was poised in his hand. No clones. No sweat, not even effort. Wow, he exclaimed, then dismissing the Rasengan. So what element are Hinata-chan and I? She was no longer shy hearing Naruto call her that, though it still added a bit of pink to her cheeks. I was getting to that, he said. Each of you take a piece of paper and force chakra into it, and I will tell you your affinity. They each took a piece of paper, and as they poured their chakra into it, they both let out a gasp of surprise. Naruto's paper split right up the middle, while Hinata got wet. Interesting. What is interesting, sensei? Hinata asked. What does this mean? Both of you are from Konoha, and yet neither of your affinity is fire. Also the fact that both of you have the elements, he explained, stroking his beard. Naruto, your element is that of wind, the most powerful for close and medium range combat. It has quite a force and can cut anything, not to mention that affinity is rare. Naruto could not believe his luck, and at the same time he wondered if his father had the same affinity. Hinata, your affinity is that of water, silent and graceful, yet deadly and dangerous despite its beauty. I never thought of water that way, Hinata stated, a bit awed by her element. But why is it so interesting that we have these elements? It is because these elements are a pair because of their similarities, fluid, gently by nature, with hidden and most times inescapable deadliness. I see, Naruto said with a downcast look. Does fire have a pair? Thinking of Sasuke again? Naruto perked up. Hinata's guess was right on the money as her arms pulled him into a comforting hug. Yes, the partner of fire is electricity. They are both obvious, and do not hide their strength, and at the same time their strength is borrowed as either can be dangerous. Without a medium, fire, the air and electricity, metal or certain liquids, he stated like an all-knowing sage. But tell me, what is this Sasuke person to you and why do you seem so sullen just by his name, or his element? Before Naruto could answer, Hinata answered for him. He was the rookie of the year in our year, and was on Naruto-kun's genin team. They kind of hated each other in a brotherly sort of way, and Sasuke was Naruto-kun's first, and only best friend. Then why the long face? Did he die? No, this time Naruto took up the reins. He betrayed us all and went to a man called Orochimaru. I and some others from our year group chased after him until I was the only one still chasing. When I caught up to him, he told me that he was going to that snake bastard so that he could get power to kill his brother, and he didn't care how dark or evil that power was or the fact that Orochimaru wanted his body as a vessel. We fought, and I pulled my punches and I was beaten as a result of it, and he left me for dead. I have to get him back before Orochimaru uses his body. I see, the old man stated in a subdued voice. You want to regain what you lost. Yes, there is nothing wrong with that except what, old man? Naruto blurted, his anger barely restrained. You never lost your friend Naruto. Your friend left of his own free will, you yourself said so. So why do you think you have to get him back? He asked none too gentle. Besides, if you do find him and take him back to Konoha, what will you do then? What do you mean? Well, you are supposed to be dead and your home village doesn't think much of you, and Hinata is an A-class missing nin. Realization struck him as it dawned on him that he would be putting his love's life at risk. It's not just that. I made a promise. I understand, he said with an understanding nod. It is your nindo to never give up and to never go back on your word. I admire that. Just be careful of what promises you make and to whom you make them. Anyway, we have wasted enough time. They immediately straightened at his now authoritative tone. For now till I tell you otherwise, this is the schedule you will follow. Every day you will wear these weights around your wrists from now on. He tossed them a pair of uninteresting looking wrist weights, but when they put them on, it was like lifting a truck. Next, every day after your warm-up you will practice your taijutsu. Open palm on Monday and Tuesday and closed fist on Wednesday and Thursday, and on the last 3 days I will instruct you in the elemental arts. Finally, at the end of each day you are to meditate under the fall for 3 hours. Hi, and Naruto, since you already know Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, I would like you to do your katas with at least 50 clones simultaneously, increasing by that amount weekly. Sensei? What is it, Naruto? How is that going to benefit my training? You mean you don't know that the experience and knowledge a clone gets is transferred to the original after it is dispelled? Really? Wow, that's so awesome. Master Kyash and Hinata's sweat dropped. Anyway, continue with what you were doing. But before he could move away to supervise Akira, Hinata asked him a question. Forgive me for asking if I sound a bit jealous, but can you teach me the technique so that I can train harder as well? I would love to, but that technique of training is forbidden, he stated in a sullen voice. So why are you making Naruto-kun train like that? Master Kyash chuckled, causing Hinata to get a bit upset. Because he has a natural stamina far greater than any other his age and even lots of adults I have ever seen. He is the only one who can do that training. Master Kyash was expecting Hinata to get angry or storm of in a rage and claim favoritism, but what he didn't expect was for Hinata to get starry-eyed and start to squeal in delight about how powerful and talented and cool her Naruto-kun was. Yup, she is most definitely out of her shell. However, Hinata stopped her admiration. You can do it, just not at that level, so I will teach you the technique, but be warned. Any more than 1 or 2 clones at a time, and you may die from fatigue. It took Naruto nearly 2 weeks to master wind element, and a month to master water element. It took Hinata less than a month to master water element, and a little less than 2 months to master wind element. It would have taken a lot longer if it wasn't for the shadow clones. They had also managed to master one of the 2 styles, with Naruto mastering the closed fist and Hinata mastering open palm. But now came the hard part. Now that you are able to manipulate your element, and its partner, you shall now learn to bend it. Master Kyash speaking like a sage. This is the truly hard part, so pay attention. They immediately trained all their attention on the old man before them. Manipulation is the use of chakra to use an element, but bending has no chakra involved. You must be able to understand the workings of your element inside and out and make it as if it is a part of your body and soul. How do we do this, sensei? Hinata asked. You must suffer to the point of almost death, and it is at that point when you will discover understand. To say that they were a bit put off would be an understatement, but they would not give up, for that is their nindo. Go home and relax, but don't eat, for tomorrow morning you will start. If you don't succeed you will surely die. The next day came a bit too fast for their taste, but it came nonetheless. That day the old man told them that their weights and restricting training uniform were not necessary, as it would only hamper them. He carried them to the river and told Naruto to sit on one of the rocks in front to fall, while he told Hinata to sit in the water and told them to meditate on their element. Before I go, let me give you some advice. Each element has its own personality. Water is easygoing yet unstoppable, while wind is lighted-hearted and free, but they both hold the ability to become unforgiving and merciless with unbridled strength and power. Remember, all things have life. Respect that life and it will show you its true self. Wait, sensei, Naruto said, his sensei looking over his shoulder as he was leaving. How will we know when we have achieved this? You will know, was all he said. Now close your eyes and focus on what I have told you. I will be here when you have awakened. The last part he said with confidence and pride as he walked away. Ordinarily a person cannot go without food or water for a day or two without passing out, but due to their training Naruto and Hinata, though still human, are anything but normal. It had been a week since they embarked on the journey of awakening their respective element to its fullest as Master Kyash had sauntered to the waterfall where his two prized pupils meditated for about a week without food or water. Seems as though I'm right on time, he thought. Show me the potential of your power, then I will teach you to be truly strong. As he thought this, something truly remarkable happened. The clouds above suddenly became dark and threatening as the air around Naruto suddenly stirred, gently at first, but then became something more violent and angry, as if it had a life of its own. It began to bend the nearby trees and uproot them while howling at the more stubborn ones. At the same time, the water around Hinata swirled like a whirlpool and churned violently, as if it too had a life of its own, mixing its rage with that of the wind. The water splashed and sloshed around and lashed out at the banks of the river, scattering massive boulders as if it were paper. With the fury of the water added to the fury of the wind, turned the river into a tempest of unbridled fury and unspeakable power, with the dark clouds above echoing the rage, below with thunder. Had Master Kyash not been a ninja of immense skill and power, he would have either been swept away and or by the raging water, or blown away or sliced to bits by a wind of equal wrath. But as suddenly as the storm appeared, it was gone, with the water calming itself down and forming a calm swirl around Hinata's form before settling down completely, and the wind becoming a gentle breeze about Naruto's form as they both slowly opened their eyes. Fortunately Master Kyash was there to collect a now passed out Naruto and Hinata, as they both had no nourishment for a week and had no strength left. You have made me proud today. Not even I am able to command such power, said the old Nin master as he transported his two students. By the way you two are going, I say there is only a year or so before your training is complete. That is if they can pass my 3 tests. To think you two already accomplished that in such a short time. Master Kyash praised his two students while they shoveled away food at a rate that would put an Akimichi to shame. At the rate you two are going, I might have to step up your training even more. Shankyu Shinsei. Naruto-kun, Hinata said between large chomps of food. It's rude, chomp, to speak chomp with food in your mouth. Sorry chomp, Hinata-chan. Slow down you two or you are going to choke to death, Akira spoke from behind, walking into the kitchen, sitting next to the two hungry children. As much as I enjoy this revelry, I must inform you of the completion of your training. Naruto and Hinata stopped eating and paid attention to the aged master, waiting to hear what he said, as objection were out of the question no matter what the situation. I expect the two of you to master the style that you haven't mastered, and when you do I will teach you the final style that combines the two, making it truly the most powerful, taijutsu. Next is to further strengthen your mind so that you may be impervious to genjutsu and torture, and especially for you Naruto. You too shall also be given ninjutsu and genjutsu scrolls to learn. Know this, these jutsus are unlike anything you have seen before, as many if not all have been either lost to the outside world for generations or are labeled as BS rank, Kenjutsu. Finally you must pass my 3 trials. Failure is not an option, as you will be continuously be tested until I find you sufficient by my standards. H paused to look at his students' reactions. Any questions? Just 2, Naruto said with a grin on his face. What is that? When do we start, and why specifically Naruto-kun? This time shocking both Akira and Kyash. Hinata finished Naruto's thought with a grin on her face matching that of the one on her love's face. To answer your first question, as soon as your strength returns, because you will no longer be this comfortable till your training is complete. Whatever he meant, it took the grin of their faces. And the second question? Naruto asked, a bit worried. Since you are a Jinchuriki, your strength over your own mind is as essential, if not more so than physical strength, to gain control over the beast within. He paused to gain his breath. And finally you must accept it as a part of you, and denying it would only make the struggle only harder. Naruto looked thoughtful for a while. This really was going to be hard. How could he just accept something that has been the bane of his existence for as long as he could remember? Only time could tell. The rest of the 3rd year and part of the 4th went by, with the training becoming more and more torturous each day, literally. Master Kyash, in order to further develop their mental strength, had them live and train in the wilderness with nothing more than the bare essentials to survive as they had to. Whether scorching hot sun, freezing cold nights, heavy downpours and injuries, if there was any, all the while enduring increasing levels of genjutsu used on them by Master Kyash with the intention to break their minds, and for a more relaxing day walking on hot coals, mind over matter as he put it. It didn't help when he forbade them from physically or verbally supporting each other, as he told them they could only do it in spirit. All this while beating the basics of kenjutsu into them. Master Kyash was one to believe that since a weapon is an extension of the body, that it is up to them to come up with their own style, one that they see and call their own. Throughout all this he still increased their weight ever so often to dangerous levels. They learned from ninjutsu and genjutsu when not being tortured or mastering the final style, which combined open palm with closed fist. It was called Odaika Kotetsu. When their training was over he brought them out of the wilderness, as it was time for their trials. All this time they had not seen each other or their adopted big sister Akira, so it came as a mild surprise when they finally saw each other again. Naruto and Hinata, as they lay eyes on each other, immediately dashed towards each other, eager to feel the other in their arms. As they finally came into each other's arms after being separated for so long from each other, Naruto looked Hinata in her pale lavender eyes, and though she looked a complete mess, he had never seen such beauty in all his life. The same could for Hinata as she felt his strong arms caress all the womanly features of her body as she stared into his blue eyes. And then they kissed, warmly and passionately, as if to say, please don't ever leave me again, and I will never leave your side. But unfortunately they had to stop short their little lovers' reunion when they heard their teacher forcefully clearing his throat to get their attention. Now if I may have your attention, he said while Naruto scratched the back of his head embarrassed and Hinata glowed a shade of red that haven't been seen in nearly 4 years. Your training is complete, and I am honored to be the teacher of such extraordinary talent. You have truly surpassed all my expectations and more. Thank you, sensei, said Hinata, feeling a sense of pride she had never felt before in her life, while Naruto's face was about ready to split from the grin he was wearing. But now it is time for you to be tested. Let me see if you are truly worthy to be called ninja. Trials of a true ninja. 3 trials, that is what will decide their future in the eyes of their sensei. If they have true strength, or are they just like the other ninja in the world today, foolish, greedy, selfish, self-centered and consumed by hatred and fear. Because of this the ninja of today has lost the true meaning of the word and what it truly means to be one. But now, for the first time in who knows how long, 2 ninjas, one who was considered to be the weakest and was cast aside for it, and the other, a public outcast for as long as he could remember for a reason he had no control over, shall embark on 3 tests, and should they succeed, show the world what it means to be ninja and all it entails. Naruto and Hinata stood before the aged master, each with unreadable masks as they awaited the first trial. Akira wasn't training that day as Master Kyash wanted her to witness this as she would not want to miss it, and the fact that she had awakened the second stage of her bloodline limit made things a lot easier. If you can remember, some time ago I gave each of you a scroll to keep and I told you to keep it safe at all costs. They nodded their head in understanding. Good. Each of you have one and I want you to capture the other scroll and at the same time prevent the other and myself from getting your own. You have till sundown. When do we begin, sensei? Naruto said discreetly, looking around his location trying to figure out his chances and come up with a plan. Now Doton, Tsukunami no Jutsu. That was the last word they heard as Master Kyash attacked them both with his staff, smashing it into the ground, sending a wave of earth as high as the trees crashing down on both of them. Akira was beside herself with awe at the sheer power of the attack and the swiftness in which it moved, yet at the same time afraid for the life of her 2 surrogate siblings. But that fear was soon erased when she saw Master Kyash dash off into the forest after something she could not make out. They actually escaped that. How strong have you 2 gotten when you were away? Hinata found herself in the forest again, but this time it was not for training, no. It was hunting and being hunted all at the same time. All she had to do was find Naruto and somehow get his scroll before he or Master Kyash got hers. Quickly thinking up potential strategies while hidden under a powerful cloaking technique she knew would not slow down the others much, a thought struck her. Sensei didn't forbid me from using my Byakugan, she thought, but as soon as she was about to perform the seals for her special eyes she was shocked as they suddenly activated, just by thought. More surprising was the distance she could see, miles upon mile in all directions with such sharpness and clarity she had never had before. She could even see the tenketsus of the 24 Narutos headed in all directions and the one older-looking person with the staff who came upon a clone that dispelled itself as he noticed it. Alright, thought Hinata, dashing towards the closest Naruto hoping that he was the real one of the flaws of the prize dojutsu. Time to get that scroll. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto said, bringing into existence 24 clones of himself. Without a word they all scattered in all directions to form a sort of security web notifying the original, and the others if any one of the 2 targets were sighted immediately, giving each other instant intelligence on the person's location and direction, not to mention to keep Hinata on her toes. Since Master didn't say anything about her eyes, I'll assume he gave her permission to go ahead, Naruto thought and smiled to himself. It won't take my love to figure that out. It's the only thing I have right now to hide within her sights. Within moments he received the thoughts of one of his clones that dispelled itself to alert him and the others of the incoming danger. Thinking as the original would, 11 of the clones nearest to Master Kyash took up positions to keep tabs on him. Hinata, with her Byakugan, saw this, and she smiled a meek smile at what he did. He is trying to control this game by controlling the pieces, and those fools said my love is an idiot. She smiled even more this time, sighting one of Naruto's clones at a distance she was sure she could not be seen or detected. Suetun, Mizuden Ansatsu no Jutsu. She took a deep breath and spat out a tiny orb of water aimed at a vital point just below the base of the skull, dispelling it immediately. Damn, Naruto thought, proud of the girl he called his Tsukihana for her pale eyes and flowery scent. With that last attack she probably saw straight through my plans. Well, most of it, at least at the rate she's going she might find me before I get her location. Hinata knew what was going on now. Naruto was triangulating her location from the information sent from the clones she dispelled. Each time one was dispelled, new information was received and the clones and Naruto himself closed their positions accordingly. Alright Naruto-kun, Hinata thought to herself, smiling proudly of the man she called her Iwara Tenpi for his blue eyes and golden hair. 2 can play at that game. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. In a puff of smoke an identical copy of Hinata stood looking at her, Byakugan eyes and all. Alright, let's go. Hinata ordered. In one swift motion they turned from each other and dashed off in opposite directions. They stealthily took out Naruto's clone two at a time until Hinata's clone attempted a long-distance kunai throw to end one of the clone's life, but the supposed clone turned around and caught it. Damn, swore Naruto, now headed in a separate direction as they both knew where the other was and Hinata could clearly see where the real one is. Unfortunately, Master Kyash had managed to slip away from the ever-watchful eyes of the shadow clones and was now tracing Hinata from her footprints, which neither she nor Naruto bothered to conceal. I guess I trained them too well, he thought to himself as he observed the surroundings where a jutsu was performed. From the surroundings he could clearly see that the jutsu that Hinata performed long range was not Naruto's style, though he was capable, was clearly on target yet didn't hit the target, maybe a shadow clone. It seems as though she have already passed this test already. I wonder how Naruto is doing. As soon as he said this, the sound of something smashing into a tree or a tree being destroyed not too far away was heard. Guess I spoke too soon, he said, picking up his pace in the direction of the sound of battle. Hope I don't miss any of the action. In a clearing not too far away, Naruto and Hinata was engaged in a fierce taijutsu battle, Naruto using his elemental form of the closed fist style and Hinata using the true open palm style. There was no water around to use, but even without it a single punch or open strike from either fighter would have temporarily put the other down for the count, maybe even permanently, depending on the accuracy of the strikes, and they were very accurate. Had Master Kyash not known the two, he would have sworn that they were out to kill one another, and yet he still wasn't completely sure. Their forms were flawless, their intent unreadable, and their strikes deadly. In the heat of the battle, Hinata found an opening on Naruto's right lung, and at the same time Naruto was closing in with a spear hand strike sharpened with the wind to Hinata's right lung. They would have caused serious injury to each other had they not broken apart at the last moment from each other. They stared at each other intensely for what seemed like hours, measuring and sizing up their opponent, and looking for openings. Then they heard clapping? Master Kyash strolled into the clearing applauding his two students. You fight like true shinobi, and for that I am proud, but did you complete your assignment? The sun is almost gone and I haven't let loose yet. Master Kyash cracked his neck and dropped into his fighting stance of the Odaika Kotetsu. But before he was able to proceed, Naruto and Hinata both started to chuckle. May I ask what's so funny, my students? Well, for one, you are a common enemy, and I doubt you can handle both Hinata and I at the same time. Naruto smiled his trademark grin as Hinata joined in. That, and I already got Naruto-kun's scroll. Hinata smiled, holding up Naruto's scroll in her hand, giggling at Naruto's shocked face. What? Naruto couldn't believe what he was hearing as he frisked himself for his scroll but found it missing. Oh well, no sense keeping it a surprise anymore. In a similar fashion as Hinata, he pulled out a scroll that was initially on Hinata's person. But how? She asked, wondering when this could have happened, but then it struck them both. Right before you stopped, they both said at the same time. That's all good and all, but you two are forgetting about me, said Master Kyash, but as he tried to charge he found one foot stuck to the ground with static electricity, and the other with earth that was slowly creeping higher. When? Was all he could say. As he said that, two clones came out of hiding, one of Hinata and the other of Naruto, each holding the last seal of their jutsu. I see, he said with a smile slowly creeping up his cheek, for tactical insight, holding fast to the ninja code at all time while facing the most unfair of adversaries. You two passed the first trial. Meet me back at the house for your second task. They were in a field filled with knee-high grass and flowers and short trees, plants and shrubs scattered throughout as Master Kyash faced his students before snatching something out of the air and held it in a closed hand. So what's our second test, sensei? Naruto asked, still hyped from passing his last test. This, Master Kyash replied, opening his hand, showing a small insect with paper-thin wings that looked slightly like a bee resting quietly on his palm as if it had always been there. What is that, sensei? Hinata asked. I have never seen anything quite like that before. For most people that would be nothing, but Hinata was once on the team with Abdurrahim Shino, and being on a team with the bug user would make anyone quite knowledgeable of various types of insects. That is no surprise, he said, raising it so that Naruto and Hinata could get a better look. This insect is called a ninjask, and it is only found here and is quite special as it is your second trial. What's so special about that bug? Naruto asked, slightly wondering about the sanity of his teacher. The ninjask is a creature that is nearly impossible to catch. It is ridiculously fast, can turn a sharp angle without slowing down. But despite all this, it is the most fragile creature in the world. If a leaf should fall on it, it would be dead in an instant. So, what does this have to do with our trial? Naruto asked, becoming a bit anxious from the suspense. I'm getting to that. Master Kyash shot a glare at Naruto. As I was saying, because of its frailty it has developed a sort of sixth sense where it can sense danger and hostility in their area as to stay out of danger. Which is the reason why you haven't seen one until now. Your second trial is to capture one of these and keep it in your palm for at least 12 hours, at the end of which it must not be damaged in any way, form or fashion. Naruto paled at the thought of catching one and it immediately going splat in his hands. This really was going to be tough, especially when you can crush a pebble between your fingers without much thought. At least the weights and restricting uniform would help him be gentle. Oh, before you begin, the old man pulled out 2 changes of clothes to the ninja clothes that Naruto and Hinata were currently wearing, only they were not restricting in the slightest. Take of your weights and your training clothes and slip into these. And no Byakugan. Well, so much for advantages. After training under Master Kyoshi for almost 4 years, Naruto learned a lot of things, one of which being patience, but when you have been at something for almost a day it begins to rub on you a bit. But since the old man didn't give a time limit, Naruto and Hinata felt it necessary to sleep and resume in the morning, as the ninjask was hard enough to catch when you could barely see it in broad daylight among the shrubbery. At night, when Naruto and Hinata lay snuggled up to one another, Hinata lay on her side with Naruto behind her with his arms around her lovingly as Hinata's hands were within his. No matter how much they slept together or the amount of contact they had with one another, she would never get accustomed to him nor him her. It was like a first experience each time, but tonight, despite the comfort, neither could sleep. "What's the matter, Hinata-chan?" Naruto whispered in her ear. "It's this test," she replied, turning to meet his gaze. "How can we catch those things? I know, I can't even get within 5 feet of the stupid bug without it running away. Maybe it's our approach." "What do you mean, Hinata-chan?" "Well, think about it. When Sensei caught it was like he wasn't even paying attention to it, while at the same time he was. You're right, and he did kinda say that it can sense when someone wants to catch it or do it harm in any way. I think I understand the point of this test," she said, getting up to her knees holding Naruto's hands in her lap. "Really, what is it?" "Well, no matter how well disguised or concealed a ninja is, even if they erase their very presence, it will all be worthless if his intentions are not concealed. You're amazing, Hinata-chan, that's why I love you," he said, raising up to place a gentle kiss on her lips while she blushed furiously. "But that is not all we have to worry about." "You mean after we catch it, how to keep it from dying, or better yet keep from killing it?" "Exactly, but I think I know the secret to that one." "Really, what is it?" "It's about control." "Control?" "Yes, anybody who is as strong as us can smash boulders by blindly punching it, but if you have control of your strength you can be strong as well as gentle, kinda like how a ninja using their wit instead of their muscle." "Wow, you're amazing, Naruto-kun." Naruto scratched the back of his, and they all said you are an idiot. The night passed and Hinata and Naruto awoke at their usual time to get dressed and warm up. Now with the knowledge of what to do they set out. It was easier this time. All they had to do was not try to catch it but simply act as if not to catch it, and when they were close enough swoop it up in a swift yet gentle hand and hold on to it. They each held on to it for the entire day until Master Kyoshi decided to make his appearance. "I see you have each caught one. Now open your hands and let me see the state of the insect." As they both opened their hands, the ninjask lay still on their hands as if content on both their palms. "Congratulations, you have both passed the second test. Come follow me to your third and final trial." They followed him back to the house where Akira waited their return, but as they approached them, Master Kyoshi suddenly stopped and turned to them with one of the most serious looks on his face they had ever seen before. "Be warned, the third test is by far the most difficult, and will be the most difficult thing you would ever go through in your life, for you see, the most difficult and dangerous enemy you would ever face is yourself." Without warning they both collapsed onto the ground. The old master had led them directly into the center of a sealed diagram drawn on the ground meant to create a powerful genjutsu that is on equal footing with Tsukiyomi, but only more dangerous due to its personal content. Akira was worried about her 2 surrogate siblings. Though they were younger than her, she grew to look up to them, their strength and potential that was revealing itself each day. "What does this do, sensei? Are they going to be okay?" Akira asked her sensei with worry clearly written in her eyes. "That would be up to them, my dear." When not training, Master Kyoshi was like a father to them. After all, they were all orphans in one way or another. "What the hell do you mean by that?" she asked, losing her cool for a moment. She had the least control on her emotion than the others. "This is a genjutsu designed to invoke a person's worst nightmares, darkest secrets and deepest fears, and manifested in the form of a doppelganger, forcing a person to confront what they fear the worst, becoming what they are afraid of. Well, since it is a genjutsu, Hinata can break out of it no time with her Byakugan, and Naruto doesn't fear anything," she bragged, relieved about the situation. Master Kyoshi chuckled lightly. "What's so funny? This is a special forbidden genjutsu that not even the Manjiki Sharingan could escape. As long as they are in the boundaries of the seal, the only way they can escape is to confront it and defeat it, and as an added bonus they become truly strong in all sense of the word. What if they don't defeat it? Then it will start all over again, and only when they defeat their enemy will they become truly strong, and they will know a power that is beyond all and is incorruptible. A power that can only be attained by becoming one with yourself," he said as Akira looked up at him. "Yet they will still be that same Naruto and Hinata that we all know, only better." Master Kyoshi then brought out a flute from under his clothes and sat outside the seal in a lotus position. "What are you going to do now?" Akira asked, angry at the inhumanity of the tests, or scared that she may have to go through the whole thing sooner or later. "You didn't think I was going to make it as simple as that, were you?" He grinned at Akira's shocked expression. "Genjutsu created by sound is far more potent than others, and to make it even better, the Sharingan and Byakugan, or even one other, cannot see through it." "What do you mean, cannot see through it? If there isn't anything to see through, my dear." The old master then brought the instrument to his lips and closed his eyes. "And remember this. Music is nourishment for the soul, and I am simply poisoning that nourishment. Don't worry, I am simply going to play on their emotions. In time I will teach you this as I have taught those two, but for now watch and try not to get too upset." But before she could protest, he began playing. He played a song that was calm and yet at the same time something like an angry wolf tearing its way through a carcass. Violence, rage, anger, they were the ingredients in the soup of hate. A soup made with nothing more than a wooden flute and calm breaths. Hinata's mindscape. Hinata trained hard for years to become who she is right now, strong, confident and loved by the one man she had admired from the first time she had seen him, and she was not about to return to that pathetic state, not ever. She had cast it all aside, her stuttering, her shyness and to an extent larger than she would admit, her gentle nature. But here she was, staring into the downcast pupilless eyes of a midnight blue-haired girl a few years younger than she is now, her finger poking together in a nervous gesture. She had long since cast aside. What is the meaning of this? Who are you? She demanded of the stranger. Isn't it not obvious? The person answered, I am you. Anger, she felt it welling up inside of her. The very sight of this fraud sickened her. No, she barked, I was you, and I never will be again. Hinata furiously attacked her double with an open palm strike to the heart, hoping to end this nightmare before her, but as she was about to connect the blow, her doppelganger suddenly vanished into thin air. What W was wrong with us then? Her tormentor now behind her back to back. I was weak, she said, tears begging to be released as she drooped to her knees. At the same moment in Naruto's mind, Naruto looked around his surroundings. It was dark, cold, and wet as the wind whistled through trees and hollow logs. Had he been to this place before? Yet he could not understand why or how he was there in the first place, but he was there nonetheless. Suddenly a dark aura descended upon him, tearing him from his thoughts. He turned around quickly in a stance ready for anything, but nothing could prepare him for what he saw. Look upon me and see what you may become, it said in a deep voice that was as if the words it spoke was dripping in power. The figure had spiky blonde hair that reached to the center of his back with deep red tips that faded seamlessly into blonde about 4 inches from the end. His eyes were blood red with black slits for pupils. They looked as if they could pierce through the strongest of all barriers with the greatest of ease, as they seemed to glow in the darkness that shrouded the figure's face like a mask. The figure strode towards Naruto, his footsteps graceful, deliberate and deadly, and then he stopped, his face clearly visible now. His hair, tattered knee-length black coat and ragged baggy pants ruffled frighteningly in the icy wind as he crossed his arms across his chest and smiled a sinister smile that would make even the most battle-hardened warriors cower in fear. But Uzumaki Naruto was no battle-hardened warrior, so why didn't he run in fear? It was because he recognized who this person was, and he was angry, almost angry beyond reason, and still he would not believe it. He couldn't. Bastard! Who the hell are you? He yelled angrily at the still grinning figure. And why do you have those eyes? Fool, the dark being answered. Do you not recognize who I am, or better yet who you are? Lies, he shouted, grinding his teeth in rage. I will never be what you have become. His doppelganger chuckled darkly. What makes you think you can achieve this, foolish one? I will never use its chakra ever again. I will keep it locked up tight and throw away the key forever? My, we seem pretty sure of ourselves, said the dark Naruto. But you cannot deny the fact that I am not only you but you are me. Shut up, you monster. That hurt, he mocked. For a second there I thought you were that pink-haired friend of yours. The mention of Sakura, whether it was a name or a description, was still a sore subject for Naruto, and he hurled himself at his double in a fit of rage, intent on ripping him apart with his bare hands. But before he could connect, the dark Naruto ducked under his punch and delivered a devastating punch to his midsection, causing the original Naruto to double over in pain. Why won't you understand, Naruto? The dark Naruto said in a more solemn tone. Why won't you accept who you are? Tears began to well up in his eyes as they threatened to fall like the blackened skies above. The malice and rage that lashed out of the wooden instrument was gone, and in its place slow, haunting melody. A song that told a story of 1,000 heartaches that tore to the very soul and made one just want to cry until the salty liquid formed a sea of its own. So sad that even the heavens would weep for a reason not of their own. Hinata's mind. The timid-looking image of Hinata turned around and engulfed the original in a warm embrace. No, you were never weak. Hinata's double spoke softly into the ear of her sobbing counterpart. You were much stronger than you ever realized you were, and even to this day you are a lot stronger than you think. What sniff made me so strong? She tried to stem the flow of tears to no avail. Tell me what made me so strong if I let my little sister beat me. I was even too weak to approach Naruto-kun. You were gentle, Hinata. How could that have made me strong? She bawled, no longer in control of her emotions. Why are you telling me all of this? Strength isn't always what is on the outside but what is on the inside, she said. You must create this balance, only then will you no longer be lost. Only then will you become truly strong. How sniff do I do this? The original's Hinata croaked out as the river of tears slowly abated. I am the gentleness in your heart that you have lost so long ago, and by accepting me you also accept you for who are. I see. I think I understand now. Hinata looked her double in her eyes as they both stood up. Strangely, the double was no longer downcast or shy-looking, but a perfectly beautiful and confident woman who was both strong and gentle. What happened? Before you looked just like me before I left Konoha. Now you look amazing. The double giggled. You accepted me, Hinata. Hinata looked confused at her double. Since we are one, I am but a reflection. What you are really seeing is yourself. Hinata gasped, but then painted a warm smile upon her face as the world seemed to fade away. Thank you, Hinata, the original said as the world faded away. Think nothing of it, Hinata, the double said as it too faded away. Now, go show the world our true strength, and don't worry, this genjutsu will never work on you again. Once together we will never be separate. The voice of her double sounded more and more distant until it was nothing but a faint whisper as she awoke into the world. She had passed her final trial. Meanwhile in Naruto's mind, Naruto wheezed raggedly trying to get air back in his lungs. If I accepted then I would be a monster, Naruto rasped out barely able to control his tears. That demon was the reason for my suffering all my life. The tears finally found release as memories from days long gone from a lonely orphan who had nothing in the world to live for but a dream that was taken from him by the one he once called friend, and memories of the one he called his best friend betraying him and trying to kill him for power. I see, the dark Naruto responded, putting his hands on Naruto's shoulders. You are afraid that if you accept that the Kyuubi is a part of you, you will become just what those fools thought of you, but you must understand, it is a part of you and the more you deny it the more it kills you. What? The Kyuubi is a part of you for almost as long as your own beating heart. What would happen if you suddenly deny the fact that your heart is a part of you? Why are you telling me all of this? Naruto wailed out, no longer able to control his emotions. Why did I have to be the one to carry this bastard fox? It has been so long since you have cried, Naruto, or show any sign of sadness, but it is okay, the double said. Just because you accept that it is a part of you doesn't mean you will become it. So what does it mean? It means that you will no longer have to fight or struggle for control, as it will be a part of you. It can do you no harm. I think I understand, Naruto, the original said. There is no reason to hurt myself if I accept it as part of myself, as it would also be hurting itself. I know you would understand, Naruto, the double said. Now tell me, who are you? Naruto stood tall and stared into the eyes of his double, eyes like warm darkness, and smiled a genuine smile with his own eyes of warm darkness. We are Uzumaki Naruto, son of the Uzumaki Kushina and the fourth Hokage Namake's Minato, boyfriend and future husband to the most beautiful woman in the world and Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Kitsune. With every word he spoke, more and more power seemed to be oozing from each syllable, and at the end the power that erupted from his body, Master Kyash and Akira was finding it hard to breathe, while Hinata, who was still under the genjutsu, had a smile on her face. And what is the reason for our existence, our purpose? The double asked. To become the strongest ninja there has ever been, and to bring back the ancient ways and honor back to the world of ninja, and by my Nindo I swear it. And as double faded away with the world, he had a smile on his face that did not match his sinister image. It was in fact a smile of pride in himself, and the fact that he would no longer have to fight, and he would finally be at peace. Good, the double said, sounding distant. Go and fulfill our dreams, and remember, you are never alone. And with that he was gone, and Naruto was thrust back into the real world. He had passed the final trial. The real world. Naruto awoke shortly after Hinata. He quickly scanned the area to make sure he was where he was supposed to be, and that Hinata was still there, though he was sure she could handle just about anything. Then he saw Master Kyash and Akira sitting on the ground. Naruto looked at the old man and scowled. What the hell was that, old man? Naruto screamed at him. That was your final trial, and it is with great pride to say that you have passed. Hinata nearly fainted from the shock, and Naruto just stared with an open mouth. You both have earned my respect as ninjas, but you are no longer my students. What do you mean, sensei? Naruto asked, feeling as if he did something wrong. Did we do something wrong? I'm sorry I called you old, but you are old. The old master had a hearty laugh at Naruto's and Hinata's expense. No, let me explain, he said, sobering up from his laughing fit and wiping a tear from his eye. I have no more to teach you, and as such it is time for you to leave. What of Akira Ne-chan? Hinata asked. Though she has a very powerful bloodline limit, when she came she was not a ninja in any way, just a normal person with special abilities. Her training is not complete. When it is complete, she will find you. Okay, so when do we leave? Naruto asked before his stomach rudely interrupted. You have been through much. Come, let us celebrate your triumph with a grand feast, and after you are well rested you may leave. And so they ate, and boy did they ever eat. Even Hinata ate like a beast possessed, grabbing a drumstick and wolfing down mouthfuls of rice, vegetables, fruits, meat, and whatever lay defenseless on the table. After dinner they talked and made merry with each other. Naruto and Hinata, it pleases me to see how much you have grown in the past 4 years, but remember, when you return to the outside world only 2 years would have passed. They nodded their heads in understanding. Also, to honor this occasion I have gifts for each of you. Wow, thank you, sensei. What is it? Naruto asked. First, for you, Hinata. He reached under the table and brought out a scroll as large as one of the 2 scrolls Akira used to carry around with her all the time. Thank you, sensei. But what is it? Hinata asked, holding the giant scroll to a scrutinizing eye. Open it and see for yourself. It may be of great use to you. Hinata gently unfurled the scroll, and what she discovered had her looking like a fish. That is the bird contract. When you need assistance, call upon one, and they will be at your call. It is special as it is a contract gore all birds and was lost to the world for centuries. You may sign it later. Naruto will assist you, but now it is time for his parting gift. Master Kyash got up from his position and walked to the back of the room and took his staff of the mantle. I couldn't, sensei, Naruto said. I couldn't possibly take your staff. It looks too precious for you to just give away. That's why I'm not, he said, setting it in front of a confused Naruto. I am entrusting these blades to you. Blades? Yes, blades. The old man took it up and strapped the staff to his back and pulled the upper and lower end of the staff simultaneously, and 2 swords emerged from their concealment. The 2 swords were identical straight-bladed kodachi, except that one of the blade was blue and had the kanji for water on its tang, and the other's blade was white and had the kanji for wind on its tang. These blades are 2 of only 5. They have amazing powers, but they can only be properly used by someone who has a matching elemental affinity, but you two are different for. You are the only one who can bend your element, and as such your natural understanding has increased, making you able to properly wield any one of the 5. However, the level of power will not be the same. Master Kyash resheathed the 2 ancient artifacts and handed it to Naruto, who received it with reverential thanks. Thank you, sensei, I shall take good care of them. He strapped it to his back to get feel for it. What happened to the other 3? Hinata asked. For fear of their power and greed of some, one has been sealed away and others have been lost for fear that they may fall in the hands of element benders such as yourselves and create great destruction. I see, Hinata said, stretching her arms. If you don't mind, sensei, but I would like to rest now. Are you coming, Naruto-kun? Master Kyash nodded to give his consent, and Naruto gave Hinata his hand in a gentlemanly manner as she got on her feet as they went to their futons to turn in for the last time in their home. The next day, as Naruto and Hinata awakened, they found 2 sets of clothing similar to their training clothes, except this did not restrict the wearer's movement in the least and were made with Naruto's symbol on the back of the 2, and they were both made from cloth that reflected no light and colored in a black that if you stared into it you would feel as if you were being sucked into an empty abyss. Finally it was time to go. Master Kyash and Akira came to wish them farewell. Before you leave, allow me to give you a few more words of advice, they noted. His advice was always well appreciated, even if a little hard to understand at times. We are all still students. Even I in my 97th year of life still have much I can still learn. And you, Hinata, keep your heart gentle, for you that will be more than enough. After all, you are one of the 3 most powerful ninja in the world. But most importantly, the both of you are able to wield great power because I have made you strong. Not only physically but mentally and spiritually. Had it not been so, you would have been destroyed. Oh, and Naruto, I have one more thing for you. Take these scrolls and study them. They may come in handy. Seek out your perverted sensei, he will help you with the one on seals. I would have taught you myself, but the basics is all I am able to teach you. After that I just copy the ancient manuscripts. Thank you, sensei. I will never forget you, Ninpo, Kajisochi no Jutsu. The portal opened up beneath Naruto and Hinata as they slowly sunk into its depths. Watch me, sensei. I'll make you proud, and Akira, when your training is finished, if you want to find me, just look for my name. You will be welcomed. And with that they were gone, the portal closing, leaving no trace or evidence of their presence. What did he mean by that, Akira? Master Kyash asked. I'm not sure, but I have an idea, she said, propping one arm on the other, scratching her chin. But where do you think he went, and what do you think he's going to do? Even I cannot answer that one. He is far too unpredictable, he said with a proud smirk on his face. It's a good thing he's not our enemy or wants to end the world, because it will take everything the 5 great shinobi countries to stop him, and with Hinata at his side noting, can stop them, the brewing of the storm. Are you certain? Yes, my lord, said the man kneeling before the earth daimyo. Uzumaki no Kuni has been re-established and has merged with Waterfall Country. The Waterfall Country is no more, but the new Whirlpool Country is under the daimyo of Waterfall's rule. Summon the Tsuchikage at once. And alert my generals, shouted the daimyo of Earth Country. It seems that an opportunity has presented itself. With that the man got up and scurried out the door. 2 months earlier, there are 3 types of forbidden techniques. The kind that requires a price that is far too high to pay, such as ending your carrier, one way or the other, like using the incomplete futon, Rasen Shuriken no Jutsu, or the Shiki Fuin. The kind that is far too grotesque to even consider using. Orochimaru's impure world resurrection is one of those, and his immortality are perfect examples. The third type doesn't bear a price as the first one, or isn't as sinful as the second, but due to what it does and how it does it, is what makes it forbidden. The Kajisochi no Jutsu is one such technique. Naruto and Hinata arrived at the last place they had been before being adopted by Master Kyash, Rice Field Country. At first Hinata thought Naruto was going back after Sasuke. She had no problem with that, but they might have to kill him, and she didn't want to have to kill so soon. But on the other hand, how else were they going to keep the bastard in one place? Kabuto was an excellent medic, so breaking every bone in his body might not work. She breathed a sigh of relief when she found out Naruto's true plan, and she loved it. To create a new hidden village, one would need ninjas, and not just 2, hence the reason for them being in Rice Field Country, the Fuma clan. Having seen firsthand what the clan's jutsus can do, and how powerful they are, there was no doubt in his mind of the potential of the dying clan. Convincing the clan to leave with him was not as difficult as he would have thought. Being treated like nothing more than useless tools by a foolish and greedy daimyo was a great incentive to find another place where they can call home. And with the arrival of Naruto and Hinata, 2 of the people who risked their own lives once to save them, was like a sign from God. To stay in Rice Field Country and hide from sound, or to go and find a new home in a country with a blank slate, free to start over and become stronger? The choice wasn't hard. They were gone within a week, bound in the direction of their new home, to a new life full of adventure, new people, promise, and most importantly a place they would lay down their lives to protect without any regret. Uzumaki no Kuni. 2 months later, and the village was growing at a remarkable rate with the addition of the Star Village ninjas and the Waterfall Village ninjas as well. Other ninjas which he and Hinata had met and wanted a home to call their own also joined the new village. Surprisingly, where the new village was founded was where the hidden Whirlpool village was, and still training their arts, the last clan of Whirlpool ninjas, the Kitsumura clan. Not only the village but Whirlpool Country on a whole was growing at a rate that had the minds of the nations boggled. The country had even merged with Waterfall Country. Of course this made the daimyo of Waterfall Country very happy. The daimyo of the once Waterfall Country and now daimyo of the much larger and growing Whirlpool Country, Kyutaro Namen, is a passionate man who is a strong, honest and yet level-headed leader who treats his subordinates and allies with both the humility and respect they deserve, in his eyes that is, but above all, he is a great judge of character. This was what Naruto saw in him when he first thought up the idea, especially how he supported the ninja in a country that was already struggling and not turning to outside help, not turning his back on his ninja like the Wind Daimyo once did. So it was an easy decision to make on who would be the daimyo of the new Whirlpool Country. The merger of the countries had its benefits towards everyone. Whirlpool would come under proper political and economical watch, and the new country would also benefit from the fact that half the country jutted out into the sea, making it a perfect port for trading well. At least half would be, because that half of the peninsula was ravaged by Maelstrom, giving it its name. Not to mention it was smack in the middle of both Rock Country and Fire Country, therefore controlling the trade routes between two of the 5 great nations. Unfortunately the Earth Daimyo saw this, and how richly it would benefit him, so seizing some small country wouldn't be of any consequence. He would take this new country for himself. How foolish. Naruto-sama, I bring urgent news. The man stopped in front of the blonde windbender and another man that appeared to be his sensei, panting hard as if he had just sprinted a great marathon without stopping. Catch your breath. He waited for him to catch his breath. Now, what is this urgent news? The winded man stood straight after a few puffs of air. Our spies in Earth Country have caught wind of a plot by the Earth Daimyo. He is plotting to seize control over Whirlpool. I see, I had. Before he could finish, another ninja appeared. A ninja in every sense of the word, from the way he dressed, spoke, and even how he appeared. He kneeled before him and cast his down with one fist to the earth. Excuse this sudden interruption, Uzumaki-sama, Jiraiya-sama, said the kneeling woman. Her voice was unmistakable. Kyutaro-sama requests Uzumaki-sama's presence. He says it is of the utmost importance. The now identified Jiraiya looked at his godson with a look of pride in his eyes. If only his father could see him he would be proud. But had he still been alive things would have been different. It was a mystery to him. How did Naruto and Hinata get so strong in such a short amount of time, not to mention able to found a village, merge 2 countries and save a few clans from themselves all in 2 months? The number one most unpredictable ninja indeed. I understand, and there is no need to kneel or anything like that, and please, call me Naruto. The kneeling ninja stood but still kept her head bowed. Besides, you're older than me, remember? What's your name? My name is Reizoku Tsubaki, Uzumaki-sama, and I apologize, but we of the Reizoku clan have sworn allegiance and loyalty to you and Hinata Sama, and our only purpose is to protect you and those of your bloodline and family, and to not show the proper respect to Uzumaki-sama and Hinata-sama is unforgivable. Naruto sighed. Oh well, can't expect too much of a relaxed behavior from anyone of the Reizoku clan. They're more traditional than even the Hyuga. Thank God they're not tight asses or egotistical. Okay, Tsubaki-san, return to the daimyo and tell him I will be there later this day and wait for my arrival. And you, he turned to the other obviously rested-shaped ninja, inform Hinata-chan about this development and ask her to meet me. Hi, Uzumaki-sama, at once. With a push of Tsubaki and the other ninja disappeared in a blur as Jiraiya and Naruto walked out of the clearing and back towards the village. Well Gaki, I guess that would be all for our training today. I'm going back to do my research. Jiraiya walked past his student with a lecherous grin on his face as they re-entered the village, seeing a very curvaceous and scantily clad woman walk past him. This place is a gold mine of beauties, and she is a ninja as well. Jiraiya expertly whipped out a pen and a notepad and followed in hot pursuit of the woman that passed them. As she turned a corner she caught sight of him and his perverted antics, but that was not the shocking part. No, the shocking part was after she saw him she smiled one of the most seductive smile he had ever witnessed, and winked an eye, all for him. Arrow Sanin, I don't think. But before Naruto could warn him Jiraiya was already gone, so he just shrugged and went on his way. If only Jiraiya wasn't such a pervert he wouldn't be in the situation he was about to be in. I hope Hinata doesn't mind healing super perverts. I guess he would be fine. If Oba-chan can't kill him he won't die. But that woman was from the Katsumura clan. Might as well inform Mika on the way. Jiraiya made a big mistake being an open pervert to one of the Katsumura clan female. Unlike most kunoichi, the Katsumura clan, which is made primarily of women, embraced the more underhanded path of kunoichi. They were tricksters and seducers in its purest form. They would stab you with a dagger in your back while giving you a sweet embrace and a bloodline limit which allows their breath to become like poison to the opposite gender while aroused. It takes a great amount of control and a lot training to properly control this advanced bloodline limit. As a result of their training in this bloodline limit, it is often secluded and forbidden to anyone not of their clan who is of proper skill to even witness the training. It would be a shame for some unfortunate pervert to find out about their training and decide to steal their technique for themselves. No one has ever survived. Luckily or unluckily, the one Jiraiya went after had control of her abilities, which allows her to control the poison in such a way that she could poison a man with just a kiss, and still not let him die. Stupid pervert's going to get it now. Having informed Hinata of the situation and his meeting with the daimyo in the evening, he set off on his way to the daimyo's mansion, but as he was leaping through the trees he felt someone shadowing his every movement, and they were good but apparently not good enough as he could tell their every movement and exact positions. He continued on his path through the trees, careful not to alert his pursuers and waiting to see what his pursuers would do. They weren't attacking, so maybe they were not hostile. No, if they were not hostile, then why are they concealing their presence? So he decided to move down to the floor. Two figures clad in black cloaks with red clouds on it stealthily dashed through the trees with the skill that can only be honed from years working as some sort of ANBU or spy. They carefully shadowed their target, so that they can catch him off guard. They were not afraid of him in the least, quite the opposite actually, because the target which they were after, though he had potential, had not reached it as yet, and they knew it. Or so they thought. The blonde target continued his path oblivious to the impending situation as he passed a large tree, causing his pursuers to lose sight of him for a mere fraction of a second. That was of no concern to them. He was still there, and the red eyes of the shorter of the two pursuers did not see any sign of a jutsu being performed, and it would be surprising to say the least if he had pulled some sort of a jutsu in that time. Suddenly, without warning, the blonde target halted his movement as the taller member of the two suddenly lunged forward straight into a tree, his head colliding against the tree as he slumped to the ground unconscious. The shorter member of the two stared in shock at the downed form of his partner, his mouth open showing his shark-like teeth. How? He didn't waste time staring at his partner trying to figure out what happened so suddenly that his target had gotten the drop on them. As quickly as possible he turned his sight back onto the last location he saw the blonde Jinsokuichi, only to find him gone. Impressive, Uzumaki Naruto, but do you think that you can defeat me? The man spoke with a monotonous voice, neither wavering nor showing any hint of emotions. He knew he was still here. His Sharingan can see the difference in shadow clones, so the last Naruto he saw was the real thing, he was only hiding. So it was you too. I sensed a massive amount of chakra following me. It almost covered up your presence. Naruto's voice seemed to be coming from everywhere at the same time. Now the question is, should I kill you or capture you, gouge out your eyes and interrogate you on all the information you have on the Akatsuki and on why you slaughtered your clan? Itachi smiled, something that appears to be misplaced on his visage. I see you are still after my foolish little brother? Itachi turned around to look at a position a few meters off covered by leaves. Since you have incapacitated my partner, then I have no reason to fight you now. I wish only to talk. I find it hard to believe the word of a murderer such as you. Naruto's voice echoed around him, also betraying no emotion. But unlike Itachi, it wasn't dead. Why should I listen to a treacherous family-murdering bastard like you? Because you of all people should know that not everything that goes on in the ninja world is not what it really seems, he said once again in his dead voice. So, will you listen to me now? I assure you, I mean you no harm, intentionally. Naruto suddenly appeared behind Itachi, surprising the former ANBU captain, but his years at such high levels allowed him to conceal it. Fine, let us talk, spoke Naruto as Itachi turned around to see the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. What do you want to tell me, and make it quick, I have an important meeting to get to. You are quite skilled with Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. I know this is a clone. It doesn't matter, answered the clone. I don't trust you, and this way we can talk and I can keep an eye on you without you keeping an eye on me should you try something stupid, or in your case smart. Fair enough. He closed his eyes and reopened them to reveal charcoal black eyes. What is your relationship with my foolish little brother? Why should that be of concern to you, Itachi? The clone asked once more, but this time it had a perplexed look on his face. It is your fault he is what he is and did what he did. Just answer the question. Itachi's voice was as dead and emotionless as ever, but without the Sharingan active his eyes told a different story. I see. Without warning the clone disappeared in a puff of smoke. Itachi calmly looked around the surroundings, Sharingan blazing to life, trying to pick up any sign of the blonde ninja. Before, I couldn't see it. Because of the Sharingan I didn't look, Naruto said from behind the shocked form of Uchiha Itachi. But his back was turned so his reputation was preserved. But when you turned of your Sharingan I saw it, but I don't understand. And what did you see, Uzumaki Naruto? Sadness, regret and pain. As Itachi turned to meet Naruto his eyes couldn't help but widen at his words. The question is, why? Aren't you Uchiha Itachi, genius of the Uchiha clan, former pride of the Konoha ANBU, the man who single-handedly slaughtered his entire clan, the man who tortured his own little brother, and Konoha's most dangerous missing nin since Orochimaru team? So why is there that kind of emotion in your eyes, Itachi? The old Naruto wouldn't have taken the time to look into the depths of the man's soul to find out his true motives. The eyes are, after all, the windows to the soul, but a Dijutsu can be very effective burglar-proof. So it was with true puzzlement, when he looked into his blackened pools. It appears I have misjudged and underestimated you. I suppose there is no point in lying, he said as he once more deactivated his eyes, the red fading into black. It is regret, Naruto-kun, regret for doing things that I did not want to do, but for the betterment of my home and my foolish little brother I had no choice but to carve out my own heart. There is one thing that you are wrong about what you said. I think I understand, but I cannot believe that you were ordered to destroy your own clan, and what am I wrong about? Then realization struck. Wait, you were ANBU. Then that means that Gigi was the one who gave you the order? I cannot believe it. No, Sandame. Sama did not actually give the order but was forced to go on with it. It was actually through him that Sasuke was spared. So who was it then? The Hokage's advisors, Hamura and Koharu. I see. Why didn't you tell him then? Naruto had an idea, but he just wanted to see what the Uchiha genius really knew of his brother. Had he known the truth, he would try and destroy the village. I rather he hate me. From then on, Naruto had a newfound respect for the man. He was loyal to his village to a fault, and even then, cherished his brother even more than he cherished his village. So what is your relationship of my foolish little brother? Itachi asked the question again, this time with less assurity of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki's answer. He had grown since last he saw him. He was the first bond one made, someone who I called my rival and would have called my best friend and brother, but he stabbed me in the chest with a Chidori. Naruto paused to calm his mind, then sighed. But I still have a promise to keep to Sakura to return him to Konoha, and I never go back on my words. That is my Nindo. I see, his face still an unreadable mask, but to someone who knew what to look for could see it in his eyes. He truly is hopeless, isn't he? Don't try to play mind games with me, Itachi. That's my field. Naruto sighed again. He knew the truth now, or most of it, and he found that Itachi had suffered enough for his loyalty, so he would do this one thing for him. Fine. I will try and save the bastard, but I cannot save him from himself if he doesn't want to be saved. But I give you my word. With those words, something truly remarkable happened, so remarkable that you would think it were a really twisted genjutsu. Itachi smiled. You could even see his face cracking, but it was a genuine smile. Thank you, Uzumaki Naruto, I am forever in your debt. Don't die and we would call it even, and yet that is merely not enough. Well, before he could continue they saw Kisame turning, a sign that he would wake up soon. Guess I should go now. What was the thing I was wrong about? I was not the only one who killed my clan. There was one other, Uchiha Madara. The Kyuubi should know him well. With that, Naruto turned and continued on his way towards the capital of Whirlpool Country to meet the daimyo. If we meet again under compromising situations, do what is necessary so that your cover is not blown, and when this is over, seek me out. I always have a welcoming place for a comrade. And with that he was gone. Comrade, huh? You threw away too much, my foolish little brother. Next time we meet, Naruto, I hope we can be on the same side. What the hell hit me? And where is that brat? I see you are awake. But unfortunately he managed to evade me. After another few hours of darting through the trees at a fast pace, Naruto eventually reached to the daimyo's house. Inside, secretaries and other of the like were frantic, and even the guards were on high alert, and obviously nervous, because when Naruto arrived they had almost attacked him. Had he not been a ninja above genin level, the guards would have been begging for forgiveness while he was on a hospital bed. Of course he could have used his Kagesochi no Jutsu, but suddenly appearing in daimyo's office at a time like this would not be such a good idea. After all, the man was in his late 60s and Naruto wouldn't want the man to get a heart attack. Naruto-kun, the daimyo looked very excited to see him as he quickly ushered him into his office. I am glad you came so quickly. I know this may be much to ask so soon, but I need your help. Does this have anything to do with Iwa's impending invasion? He asked calmly as he accepted the tea that the distraught-looking lord handed him. Yes, I know this is a matter that should be handled by the military, but against the army of one of the great nations I fear. No need to say any more, Namen. Dano. Naruto placed the cup to his lips and sipped. Send out your army, and we shall provide backup from the shadows. After all, we have many advantages. And what is that, Naruto? Dano. We are a small country, and we should be able to mobilize and be ready faster than they are. Because of the size of their country, it may take many weeks to travel to our borders, and the best advantage we have is... He sipped his tea again as the Whirlpool daimyo listened attentively. They will underestimate us greatly, and we will use that to our advantage. What do you mean? The Earth daimyo probably think this country is an insignificant country not worth the time, but with potential to become a great economic power, so he will not send the full extent of his military might, and there won't be much ninjas, maybe 20 jounins for the most. That makes sense. Namen scratched his chin. You seem to be versed in the art of war. But how do you figure on the amount ninja? Even though the former hidden waterfall village is impossible to find, that doesn't eliminate the threat of the leader, who they might see as the biggest threat, and rightfully so. They would send enough jounin to kill a Kage because they know that the ninjas of Waterfall were substantial. I see then. The words barely escaped his mouth when one of the guards guarding the compound burst and covered in blood with a kunai lodged in his back. Intruders, my lord, the ninja intercepted, and he fell forward, life leaving his body, but before he could hit the floor he was caught by a pair of strong arms as he was placed gently on the floor. He felt the burning sensation of where the kunai was removed, then a warm, soothing feeling replaced the pain. Rest, you have done your job well. He created a shadow clone and left it with the daimyo to look after him and raced to where the sounds of battle were taking place outside. Outside, Naruto came upon the forms of 3 bodies, 2 dead, and 1 unconscious, all wearing the Iwa Hitai Idai in the middle of the large expanse of a yard that was riddled with kunai shuriken, and a fair-sized crater probably from some sort of jutsu or exploding notes. On the roof, the 4th member of the Iwa team was fighting a battle with the Reizoku clan member, and was currently winning. Tsubaki was able to take out 3 of the 4-man team but was having some difficulty with the 4th member who was apparently jounin level. But still, it was quite remarkable to do so much by herself. I have never seen Tsubaki fight, but she must be at least jounin level to take out 3 chunin by herself, thought Naruto as he stealthily made his way up the side of the mansion to flank the unsuspecting ninja. But her last opponent is a jounin, judging from his clothes, and Tsubaki seems to waning a bit. I have to hurry. Normally Naruto is fast enough to reach the offending Iwa jounin and disable him with swift efficiency, but he was currently wearing extra weights. After leaving his training home, he had not stopped training his body and mind and also learning under Jiraiya to further the technique of the fourth Hokage and ceiling, reaching higher and higher heights. So for now he had to rely on his stealth. It would be enough. Stealth for him was like breathing. Tsubaki fell to the ground after receiving a devastating punch to her stomach. She quickly rolled to the side to avoid the kunai that was thrown to impale her but was met with a vicious kick to the jaw. Tsubaki blocked the foot, and used the momentum of the kick to return to her feet, and quickly flipped out of the reach of her opponent, and took a defensive stance, then relaxed, while panting hard as she returned to a neutral posture. "This fight is over," said the masked Reizoku. "You have lost. You pathetic bastard." The IWA Jounin took out a kunai from his kunai pouch and charged with crazy speed to the stoic ninja. "For my comrades and for taking me lightly, I will destroy you." He closed the gap in an instant, but Tsubaki hadn't moved an inch, not even batting an eye. But the enraged IWA ninja took no heed to the suspicion of this, and instead plunged his kunai to stab Tsubaki in her head. But his hand stopped a mere few inches away from her face. "That's far enough," came a voice from behind him. "What?" The IWA Hunin was stopped dead in his track as his wrist was held in a vice-like grip. He turned around to look at the newcomer only to see a blue-eyed blonde 15-year-old looking at him with eyes that held a remarkable strength beneath them. "You fucking brat," the rock nin shouted as he dropped the kunai to his other hand and tried to stab Naruto only for his other wrist to be caught and unceremoniously broken and then followed up with a swift kick to his temple, knocking him out immediately. "You did great, Tsubaki-san. Thanks for holding out for so long. I must apologize, Uzumaki-sama. Because I am weak, Uzumaki-sama had to save me. I am not worthy of your praise and a shame on my family." "Is that so?" "Yes, Uzumaki-sama. You just took out 3 chunin and held of a jonin for quite a while. You did rather well and you should be proud of yourself. You are a very strong ninja, Tsubaki-san, and you made no mistakes." "Thank you, Uzumaki-sama." "No problem, but you are wounded and we have to get you back the village for treatment, and bring back our prisoners. Thanks to you we have a valuable source of information." After briefing the daimyo on the situation, Naruto used his Kagesochi no Jutsu to teleport the 2 unconscious IWA ninjas, and injured Tsubaki and himself directly to the village's newly constructed hospital. He woke up in a dark, cold room, the slow rhythm of cold water dripping on his face slowly bringing him into the conscious realm. He would wish he hadn't. He looked around frantically in the darkness trying to get his bearings and to ascertain his location. It was no use. A single candle burned in a corner not too far off. He could at least tell that the room wasn't big, but why was these shackles on his limbs, and why was he bare-backed and lying on a slab of stone? "Where am I?" the man asked, his ninja training keeping him from going frantic. "I will be asking the questions here, IWA Jounin." His eyes widened. How long have that man been standing there? Why didn't he sense him? What kind of trouble was he in, and will he survive? "Who the hell are you? Weren't you listening?" "Footfalls, not even trying to be hidden. I will be the one asking all the questions." "Go to hell, you bastard. I had a feeling you might say something like that," the figure in the darkness sighed. "I would normally take my time and extract every bit of information from you, but my country is in danger from yours, and as a jounin of your country I feel you have privileged information. So how much and what kind of forces will be sent to attack Whirlpool country?" "Fuck off. That is not a good attitude to show to someone who has your life and the life of your one living comrade in your hands. I think her name is Shinko." The Hunin's eyes widened. He thought that everyone was dead, so please give me the information. We would not want to have anything happening to your precious teammate. She screamed so much when we removed her toenails, but she is a resilient one. She didn't start till the 4th one was ripped out. Here. Something fell on his chest as he heard something like a cart, or something being rolled, and a case being opened. When the jounin looked down on his chest to see what fell on him, he could feel his resolve breaking slowly but surely. But he couldn't show it. He was not only a jounin, but he had his purd as an IWA ninja. "Ha, you take me for a fool? That could be anything made to look like her nails. Besides, I will never tell you anything. We are going to destroy your precious Whirlpool country and make it our own." It came out more frantic than he expected, the dripping water on his face doing its job, piece by piece chipping away at his resolve. Then an awful feeling gripped him. It felt like a wild animal tearing out his intestines, making him almost choke on his own vomit. He looked down to see his body still intact. What was that feeling? It felt like killing intent, but it didn't have the oppressive feeling that usually came along with it. No, it was bloodlust. "You said the wrong thing, and I told you before that we are short on time, but you are strong." When Shinko said something like that, she almost didn't survive and told me everything that she knew. "So I already know when the attack will come, but what I need to know is what kind of force will be sent. Will it be ninjas, samurai, or a mixture of both? So please, I have no ill will towards you. I only wish to protect my home. This is your last chance before I actually start extracting information, the easy way for me at least." The figure stepped out into the IWA Hunin's sight. He was shocked to see a kid about 15 years old with blonde hair and blue eyes that seemed to stand out amidst the darkness of the small room. "You're that brat from before, ha 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 ha. You don't have the guts to kill me or my comrade. If that is what you have to say, then let us begin. And by the way, she begged me not to kill you. I think she likes you." Naruto flashed through some hand seals. "You don't scare me, kid." "Right on, Itamiomi no Jutsu." Small dark sparks started dancing about his hands. "You should feel afraid. This is a technique that causes the victim a great deal of pain." With that, Naruto touched him on his shoulder. The man gritted his teeth and steeled his resolve in anticipation to receive hellish treatment, but slowly opened his eyes when he realized that no such feeling came. He was about to relax when all of a sudden he let loose a glass-shattering scream of pure agony. "Why, you brat, what did you do to end me?" He did not know how much more of this he could take. I will answer this one question. That technique greatly increases the amount of pain a person feels. A small scratch that you would have even noticed before will feel like a soaked whip across your bare skin. Naruto raised a small dagger so that it would be in sight of the Nin. "So will you tell me what I need to know?" And no. Poor guy, his resolve was already broken, he could only take a few more. "Then, know that I take no pleasure in what I must do." He made light cuts under the man's foot and hands, nothing life-threatening in the least. Only to cause maximum amount of pain, after all, these are the most sensitive parts of the body. This only lasted for another 5 minutes, this unworldly pain too much for the poor soul to handle. After Naruto got what he wanted, he flashed back through the same hand seals ending the agonizing pain, and walked back out the room not before stopping the drip over the man's head. In case he wasn't able to break him normally, he would have had to do it the long way. Sleep deprivation is the kind of thing that would send any sane man mad eventually, but there was no need for that. "Did you get anything, Naruto-kun?" A pair of delicate arms embraced him from the back in the presence of one other. "We have 1 month till they attack." He didn't know that much, but he did know that the Earth Daimyo would want to do this in one fell swoop to show his power, and that the Tsuchikage will only send minimal forces of about 100 ninja, 50 of which are of Jounin ninja, to take care of the waterfall ninja. "What is the plan then, Naruto-kun?" "I don't have one as yet, but Tsubaki, can you gather all the ninja at the meeting place so that we can have a discussion of all that I have learned?" "At once, Uzumaki-sama." With that, Tsubaki vanished as Naruto and Hinata walked towards the meeting place. "Hinata-chan, the new academy and curriculum, have they been completed yet?" "Yes, the building was completed a week ago, and we have quite a number of children from the clans and from the original citizens wanting to join. The curriculum had also been completed when you were gone, so you can look it over with the others at the meeting. When do you want the academy started?" "As soon as possible." As they emerged from the underground passage, "What about the hospital?" "Mika is a very brilliant and capable medic ninja from the Waterfall Ninjas. I asked her to be the head of the new medical department, and she agreed. She is quite the capable medic ninja, so there is no need to worry about health. As always, you are the best. Let's hurry up to the meeting place. There are some things that I would like to discuss." When Naruto and the ninjas that chose to join him first arrived at the village was actually split into 2 parts. The civilian parts and the more secret ninja parts, where the old folk of the Whirlpool village passed down their knowledge in the arts of shinobi to the younger generation. It was the only way for them to survive through the ages, as the Whirlpool country had become like an empty spot on the map, not even a lord to govern. But now, with the return of the last son of Whirlpool, Uzumaki Naruto, and those which chose to follow him, the secret place remained a secret, but it was not merely for surviving and passing knowledge of a forgotten age. It was now a place where a new era can be raised. The village was split into 2 parts, a civilian part which had living spaces and many shopping stores, market and administrative buildings that wasn't necessary to security. In the other part was the secret part of the village where the proposed academy would be started, as well as other training facilities where powerful as well as forbidden and secret techniques could be taught, learned and mastered in secrecy of any chance spy. It was here that the meeting took place. It was a secure location, and only way to get to this location was through a maze-like cave system that was protected by a number of deadly traps designed to kill anyone that didn't know where they were going, and so puzzling was this maze that it would even confuse the eyes of the Byakugan, and can only get there if one has been there before or was guided to it. Even though many of the paths were crossed, taking shortcuts would be the easiest way to die. At the end of the cave one could see light, and as you emerge from the darkness of the cave into the light, those that passed through the cave, they would be greeted with the spectacular sight of a lush green forest, and as one walked further they would see many tranquil lakes and clearings that appeared to be naturally made by nature. Further still lay the new academy building that would soon be populated, but the meeting would not be held here. It was even further ahead near the coast, where whirlpools swirled endlessly throughout the year, and off the shoreline stood a cliff that resembled a coliseum in shape, more of a large rock formation than a cliff. Within the formation it is hollow and lit by candles. Naruto and Hinata could hear murmurs from inside as they walked through the heavy wooden door to meet with the entire ninja population of the new village, and as they caught sight of them all the murmuring stopped. "Uzumaki-sama, Lady Hinata, we came as soon as we got the message," one ninja from the Kitamura clan spoke, followed with agreeing nods from all the ninjas gathered. "Does this have anything to do with the invasion of New Whirlpool that we have been hearing about?" "Please, Naruto would be fine, and yes, I have information that I would like to share with you all, and to get your thought and advice on the matter." "What is this information, Naruto-sama?" "You really don't have to add that honorific," Naruto stated, scratching the back of his head. "Nonsense, you and Hinata are like the angels that rescued all of us in some way or the at the time we most needed it," spoke an old ninja, probably one of the elders that held the village together for so long after the fall of Whirlpool. Whether it was from loneliness, a figure with appearance similar to that of a ninja, a corrupt leader, a pale-looking man with no distinguishing features, death, and even from ourselves, another man wearing a hakama and a long sword across his back. Calling you by that title is the least that we can do for now. So please let us defend our home together, Naruto-sama, Hinata-sama. Not to mention you two are the strongest amongst us all. Naruto and Hinata were in shock. They hadn't thought that they had actually done all this in such amount of time, nor did they realize they would have been respected and loved so much for it. Well, if you put it that way, Naruto scratched the back of his head and Hinata blushed slightly. But back to more important matters. The Earth Daimyo has declared war on the Whirlpool country and his attack force will be ready in 1 month. We have the advantage of preparing in shorter time and also the element of surprise. What? A random ninja spoke out. Even though New Whirlpool is the merger of Whirlpool and Waterfall, the army is still that of only Waterfall. The army will be crushed. There is no need to worry, Naruto assured. I have extracted information from the ninja that Tsubaki and I captured earlier. From what he said, the Earth Daimyo only sees us as a developing threat should we expand further, so he is trying to put a stop to us at the very least, if not take OVR for his own benefit. So he will not even send the full strength of the army and is requesting backup from the Tsuchikage to deal with the Waterfall ninja. So what do you plan to do? I mean, this has nothing to do with ninja, and the Earth ninja will be looking in the wrong place for quite some time, but we cannot have Earth walking all over our country as if it is their own. Murmurs of agreement arose from the gathered ninja. Naruto raised his hands one last time to quiet the crowd. No need to worry, I just thought of an idea. A smile crept across Naruto's face, a smile that anyone who knew him would know. His prankster's mind was acting up again. Hinata smiled as well when she saw it. You seem to have something up your sleeve, Iwara Tenpi? By now everyone knew of the pet names that Naruto and Hinata gave to one another, but they still did not know of his full brilliance when it came to being a prankster, and just how practical and devastating it could be. Sure, some had seen a piece of it in the past when they lived their old lives, but never the full extent. But no, the situation was extreme and he would let slip his full potential, after all when facing superior numbers that had greater strength. Open battle was definitely out of the picture, and Naruto, for a long time, probably longer than even known, was a master at fighting when the odds was against him. This was exactly that kind of situation, even though the enemy would be made mostly of samurai with a few ninja here and there. The army of Whirlpool was essentially the army of the Waterfall, so they would be outmanned and outclassed. Even the ninja in the newly founded village had no chance to take out the ninjas that were sent to take out the Waterfall village. They might have numbers on that front due to the ninjas they now had from Hoshi and the other clans of Whirlpool, but that would still leave them too weak afterwards. I sure do, Tsukihana. I have an idea that just might work, but first I would need the following persons: Hagen Riku, Sasarama Tanoko, Tonokanta, Hikari Shigeru, Fuma Danjo, Komori Mataza, Kajamusha Jin, Kitsumura Mari and Reizoku Tsubaki. With the exception of Hinata and me, you are the strongest ninjas we have, and you will be a great help with the plan. Naruto went on to explain his plan in general. The fine points will be worked out later. After he explained his plan, he moved on to discuss the structure of the village and the system that he had in mind. The academy curriculum has been completed along with the building. When is the earliest we can start training the students? From tomorrow, Uzumaki-sama. Okay. Naruto went on to outline the plan for the structure of the village and the system to use. It was open so that all the ninja could make their input and debate it out. The new system would see that the village make proper use of the 2 parts it was already in. One part would house medical care facility, an administrative building where missions and mission briefing could be given and meetings could be held in privacy, and also be used as a staging point or temporary fort. The first part would also have weapon shops and craftsmen, businesses, housing for both ninja and civilian alike, etc. In other words, it was similar to any other ninja village, but only gave a very weak appearance to any outsiders, giving them a false sense of confidence. The second part of the village was a ninja exclusive zone. The meeting place was, in fact, part of this zone, and unless you were a ninja of the village you would not be able to get to this place, and outsiders would not even know how to get to the cave that was its entry. The second part was the real thing, hidden between a cliff and stormy sea which was filled with maelstrom throughout the year. It would house the academy where ninja would be trained to become genin. There was also lodging and training fields of all shape, form and sizes suitable for training and mastering any art, and of course, the meeting place. I like it, said Hagen Riku. Should there ever be an attack, the enemy would be lulled into a false sense of strength, and while they focus only the ninjas in the village, the rest of the ninja can counterattack with minimum loss of life, while civilians can be taken into shelter in the ninja section. Precisely, Rika-san. Hinata chimed in. And to make matters easier, we could request all non-ninjas to undergo some basic or minimum training so that they can get to shelter a lot quicker, therefore cutting down the loss of lives greatly. By the way, Hinata-sama, Naruto-sama, came the head of the Fuma clan, what exactly is the curriculum for the academy? All the clans here have not much children due to the fact that they are small, but we would like to see the best for our children. There is no need to worry, Fuma-san. Naruto tried his best to cover up the fact that he forgot his name. The system we have designed is far superior to that of even Konoha. I should know, but you all can give advice where necessary. He turned to Hinata and smiled. Hinata-chan, if you will. Of course, she smiled back to him as she stepped forward. The academy teachings shall last 4 years, where students will learn stealth and cunning, general knowledge such as mathematics, history, diplomacy and all knowledge required by a ninja to know, taijutsu, the use of weapons including shuriken, kunai and one other of their choosing, the basics of ninjutsu and the basics of taijutsu. In the first year, stealth and cunning and general knowledge. In the second year, taijutsu and weapons use. In the third year will be the basics of ninjutsu, and in the fourth year the basics of genjutsu. At the end of the 4 years a genin exam will be held in which all 6 aspects will be judged and given 1 point each if passed. Only a passing mark of 4 out of 6 will be acceptable, with stealth and cunning being compulsory. Should that portion be failed, the student fails overall. I am impressed, this is very strict. What if a student fails though? Students can try as many times as they like. We are a small village, so therefore, one of our ninjas must be equal to 3 ninjas of the great nations. Naruto then chimed in to complete where Hinata left off. The best part of this system is that it allows the students and us to know what they could specialize and be of most success, allowing them to merge right into the ninja system. What ninja system you speak of, Naruto-sama? Came the slightly eerie voice of Tonokanta, the lost and slightly slow brother of Kidamaru. Due to this impending invasion, I have thought of the best way I could think of to make us as efficient as possible is to place each ninja into a sector: hunting, assassination, medical or intelligence, each under a unit captain. No one would be forced to join any sector or stay, but you must comply with the instructions and training that the unit captain gives you should you choose to stay. But I believe that the weakest people is the one that gives up just because things are just too hard. So choose wisely and accordingly. Who shall select the captains? Naruto-sama, an unidentified ninja shouted out. The one who we will vote as village leader and council members. I nominate Fuma Hanzai as our village leader. I am honored by your faith in me, Naruto-sama, but I must refuse. I am not powerful enough to lead us all. A leader does not have to be the most powerful. He or she needs to care the most, and from the way you lead the Fuma clan till now is a most admirable and most definitely leadership material. If that is the case, then you should be our leader. Naruto opened his mouth to say something, but he was quickly cut off when someone shouted, I second that. And another, yeah, me too. Naruto-sama is the strongest and smart, and many other reasons. Well, Naruto-kun, Hinata whispered in his ear, this may not be Hokage, but if you are the kind of man I know you are, then this would be a lot better. Would you all be willing to accept a Jinsokuichi as your leader? Even better, shouted another random ninja. Which one do you have? Kyubi no Kitsune. He looked over the ninja gathered to gauge their reactions. The respect and admiration they all had for him previously did not waver one bit. It actually looked as though it grew a bit. Would you still have me as your leader? Of course, said the Reizoku clan leader, an old man well into his 70s leaning on a cane. For someone to have grown up bearing such a burden and becoming powerful in spite of it, and not because of it, and also not arrogant, there is no better choice. I knew it was a great decision for my clan to swear a blood oath to protect and serve Uzumaki-sama and Lady Hinata and any descendant of Naruto-sama. Naruto smiled, then raised his hands to get everyone's attention. If everyone truly wishes it, then I will give my best to lead and be the best guardian that I can, only if Shibuki, Fuma Hanzaki and Megan Tosuke become the council. I will not give my life for you though. Everyone looked at him with disbelief, then he grinned. Because if I die, who will protect you? So I will live and fight till I can fight no longer, protecting this new village from all harm, starting with the Earth Daimyo. Nicely said, but that has a ring to it, said the ninja with the long sword strapped to his back known as Hagen Riku, the blind no Dachi, Uzumaki Naruto, Shodai Kenshisha of Arashigakure no Sato. Why the village hidden in the storm, Riku, Dano? Hinata asked. It is because before we all came here all our lives were shrouded by a storm of some sort, and this place. If you look up to this portion of the sea, it is constantly filled with storm and maelstrom. But it can only make us stronger. The most important reason is because of you, Hinata, Sama and Naruto, Sama. What do you mean, Riku-san? Asked another random ninja. Yeah, what do you mean? Naruto was just as confused about the last part, but Hinata had an idea. Being blind, I can no longer make use of my eyes, so I have to make greater use of my other senses to continue as a ninja. As a result, I can sense things normal people can't. Like that overwhelming power you two have over the elements of wind and water. It seems to be above the level of manipulation. You are quite perceptive, Naruto said, but how do you know we don't just have water and wind as our affinity? Being blind does plenty for the mind and allows you to see things others cannot. I trained many years to sense not just chakra but the aura that each and everyone exudes, something like a sixth sense. And I could tell, should you and Hinata release your full powers at the same time excluding the foxes, what do you think would happen? You're right, it would be a storm. Or at least that what Master said what happened. The last part in a whisper then, he looked up with fire in his eyes, the fury of the storm raging within them. We have 1 month to get ready, everyone. Let us go and train harder than we have ever trained in our lives. No longer are we fighting just for ourselves or for power or recognition, but for the new comrades we have made. For the innocent that look upon us for strength, and for a country that has accepted us all as its own children. Within 1 month we shall rise up and show the world that a storm is brewing. With that they all laughed with a passion and an unending resolve that they had never had before. A passion that raged within each and everyone's heart, and a resolve that will push them all to higher heights. When they all left, only Naruto, Hinata and the 9 ninja he had called out earlier in the meeting place. What will you have us do, Uzumaki-sama? For the next month, you 9 will be training with me. You all are already Jonin rank. The only Jonin rank ninjas in the village, but Hinata and I will forge you into something more, the top elite of this village by any standard. You will be known as, he paused for effect, Jurya no Erasure. To be continued. What if Naruto, Prince of Uzumaki Clan Council bashing, And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel. And leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.